steel, a giant stands, a mech with heavy man's commands, each step a quake, a thunderous might, eyes aglow in the endless night. A saint beneath, dark and vast, power fierce, shadows cast, a mighty tank beneath its core, a warrior spirit, ancient lore. Welcome tainted, a lace-up tunic or medieval hoodie. Welcome tainted, let's talk about color, or should we? Welcome tainted, thinking outside the blocks. Welcome tainted, thanks for joining us, you rock. To have your fun hole rocks. Welcome tainted. Enjoy the Chronicles Outlaw song. Welcome tainted. Thinking outside the blocks. Welcome tainted. Thanks for joining us, you rock.
Okay, it's Saturday. It's 8:17 a.m. here in the Midwest, and we're continuing the build of Outlaw Force 10. We give you the rest of the, regular intro that we sometimes would for Think Outside the Box, where we think outside the box to build cool Lego creations. But right now we're building Outlaw Force 10, and I need to reclaim this build table so I can get something done before tomorrow's live stream. I didn't tell anyone I was going live. That's the reason, of course, you should consider a like and subscribe, because then you'll get a notification when we go live and we continue a project like this. So we left off on bag 19. I have a very busy day today. I didn't even tell my wife that I was going live, so she'll undoubtedly interrupt me, probably through the ALEXA at some point. But because this is, of course, a Bricklink set, that means all of the instructions are digital. We left off on bag 19, which is basically going to be building up the facade in front of the main tower. So we're moving along nicely. Took us 4.5 hours to get this far, but most of that probably because I was also talking while building. And I would imagine we're not going to be super fast today. We'll see if I have to do some weird breaks to help with the parenting. The big news for today is that my daughter's 10th birthday party is occurring today. She's very artsy, so she's going to have her party at like a art barn, essentially. So that'll be fun, but that'll be this afternoon. So I got to get this done, get my build table clear, and then get to work on at least something for tomorrow's regularly scheduled Think Outside the Block stream. I didn't talk to Mark or Brick Dad or VMAC or Lene, so is any of them going to be here? I don't know. But we'll play some songs as we always do while we're working on the build. A little bit different stance here. I've got to kind of sit sideways while I build. Turn my head a lot because, of course, Bricklink designer program, digital only instructions. And I don't know if that's a bonus or not. I suppose, Bricklink gets they've already got the studio program, so they've got that going for them. And then, they get time at the Lego factory to produce the parts for the sets or to collate the sets. And they do have a printer because they print the boxes, but printing instructions either too expensive or just outside their depth. As I've sort of mentioned as going through this, the instructions are a little different. Unlike ideas where Lego produces the set and the instructions, Bricklink Designer, it's really the designers that finalize or approve the instructions. And we've had a number of comments while I've gone through this about the number of times you're only adding like one piece on an entire step. So Lego, for efficiency or other purposes, might not, do anything with that. They might not like that, but it's perfectly acceptable on a Bricklink set, apparently, to have that sort of design. This go a lot smoother with a lot less me talking. If I get some topics or some questions in the chat, you can, of course, ask about Brickworld, about what I think of the set, about how the build's going, whatever you want. But then I won't have to make up things and do stream of consciousness while I'm building here. If anyone has anything to say. Let's see. So the next round of Bricklink seems like they kind of get out 2 a year, pretty consistently in terms of what I mean. And I don't know that for sure. I guess I don't keep track well enough to know if that's an exact science. But it seems like we've got kind of the cadence of sort of announcement, sale, and then when things go on sale, the prior round ships, and then they do announcement for the next round. Well, 2 rounds out, sale, ship. They kind of always do it, from what I can tell, about at the cadence of February. They do order and sale, and they do reveal in about June, and then order and sale again happens, I want to say October-ish or August-ish. So it's kind of how it's been going lately, at least. All right. Which has been fine, because then we sometimes get announcements while we're at Brickworld Chicago about the next round. And next round, I mean 2 rounds out. And last year they had Series 8 announcements, and there were some really cool sets in 8. So that was really exciting. All right, so we're building up the front facade here, which is fine. Doing a little snot building with our rock, so we're changing it up a little from all the stacking that we've been doing. I would say that that's one of the things for rock work that's important, is to be able to kind of change texture and direction a little bit. If it's all going the same way, or it's all stacked the same way, it's not nearly as enjoyable. Not nearly as realistic either, but I suppose for a Lego set, that's part of the draw. So let's see, what else might I get done today outside of this and my daughter's birthday party? Well, we'll see if I get around to building something. I've been working on a Blacktron build that will show off tomorrow. 2 Blacktron builds, actually. I think I'll probably be able to finish those, and I don't know where I'm going next. I should probably work on my Brickworld collaborative work. I have several collaborations that I'm supposed to be doing for Brickworld. I haven't really started any of them. It's just so much easier to work on your own stuff without having to coordinate until you kind of get to crunch time. Though the collaborative builds are always a lot of fun. So collaborative builds, as in building part of a larger mock with other people. One of the Brickworld staples. And the group I build with for the collaboratives, we've built together now for several years. So feels like we should be a well-oiled machine. I don't know that we are. Always seems like we start late. We usually have the concept pretty early, but sometimes it takes a while to get motivated and get working on the build. It's always better to have like a leader who can keep everyone on task. We're not the best with that anymore, I should say. We used to be really good with that. We had someone who was sort of the default leader who'd keep us on task. Sort of been lacking that lately. And if they want me to do it, tell you what, I got kids, I got a job. I'm sure other people have the same situation, but that's really just not conducive to me being able to lead in that fashion. All right. Let's see. Still no questions. Come on, guys. Throw something up there. Whether it's about the build, whether it's about Brickworld, whether it's about, my personal life even. I don't care. Just throw up whatever you want. I'll have something else to talk about, so I don't just have to drone on about nothing. You can play a Toppy song here in a little bit, of course. Toppy meaning think outside the box. You got a number of them. They're all fun. But of course, all the songs have videos, which is good, but it also removes your ability to see what I'm building when I turn one of them on. So we'll still play some because they're fun and they're good distractions. When they're playing, I can, go to the bathroom or get a drink of water or whatever I need to do. Again, 652, another page with just one simple instruction on it. There are 917 pages in this PDF for this build. It's 2,600 pieces. I would suspect they easily could have cut out 100 pages if they combined a few steps here and there, or they did more, of the breakout type things where you do the little sub build and then put it on. They don't really do a lot of that on here. So, all right, adding this last big plate that came in its own separate bag. And soon I imagine we're going to get to the portcullis, which is going to slip down in here. But we're not quite there yet. So this is what it looks like closed up. This is the only part that really hinges open. So it does have some nice little things to see in here. The forest den itself, the portcullis, when it drops, basically locks this cave off. And it's got, a place where they're sitting to play poker or whatever. And some wine with a little spillage and a little spot to cook. Little tiny armory down here. And then some gold back in the corner. But actually more of the gold. Let's see if we can even get to the gold here. Yeah, down here in this little corner. You won't even be able to see it on the camera. Just a little bit of gold. But they actually have more gold sitting outside before you even get into the entrance. On top of like these supplies or whatever that they've stolen. But they're like outside the main base. So a little interesting there. As is like an additional kettle where they're cooking something. So kind of fun that all the space is utilized, but a little odd that you don't have all your treasure inside your den behind the portcullis. Whatever. I'm not judging. I'm totally judging. All right. A little brown in here. We'll see what bag we actually get to build the portcullis in. The portcullis is, the kind of grady looking door that slides down on a castle. So we'll see if we get there or when we get there, what it looks like. Okay. So I'm guessing we'll probably get a counter wedge on the other side of this. So when it swings open, there'll be a little ledge here. We'll have a nice little shape. What are we building, of course? Outlaw Force 10, Bricklink designer set. I think this is Series 7, just released. Series 7? No, Series 6. I'll check myself on that. Series 7 is now up through order until Monday. So through the 23rd. And so this is Series 6 that we're working on now. And Series 8 was announced last year at Brickworld. So there's some really cool builds in that one. So Series 8 had the Dustmark Keep as well as the Coconut Cape. So an Imperial Soldier Fort as well as another castle. Series 9 they announced live. I watched the live stream for that. There's a couple of ones in there that you think I might be interested in again, right? They have a Sleepy Dragon Inn, which I think's okay. I'm not going to say I love it, but I think it's all right. And then a Wild West Blacksmith. So it's kind of seemed like we've really become accustomed to having a castle and perhaps a Wild West build in about or every other type of release. We don't always get Wild West, but we always seem to get castle. So some people even tease that it's the castle designer program, but they release other things too. But those seem to be sort of the two recurring themes. Seemingly, at least adults want those themes back for Lego. And they do some direct to consumer stuff too. satiate us, at least on the castle front. They don't really seem to be interested in Wild West though. So I guess, they do the research. They presumably know what consumers want. They don't seem to think we want Wild West, but Bricklink Designer Program seems to disagree. Another couple pages where I'm only putting on one piece. It's like, why? Why aren't we putting on several pieces? Looks like we're adding some sort of crank here for the portcullis. So it seems there'll be some sort of ability on the back end here to roll up the portcullis using some sort of Technic mechanism here, which is good. You kind of want that, right? You want to be able to roll up your portcullis so that you guys can have your outlaws come in and join you and not let those crusty lion knights in. Keep those guys out. All right. Still a whole lot of nothing in the chat. Not saying you're required to talk, but might make things a little more interesting if there's anything you want to know. Maybe you just like the random topics that I decide to talk about. That's, up to you. Not that I feel bad that it's my daughter's birthday weekend, but anytime you've got two kids, then you got to be concerned that the other one is going to feel rejected or like, they're not as important or whatever to your life. So my son, I was going to see if we could find some time to go see this new animated movie. It's a basketball one with a goat that wants to play, and apparently goats are unworthy for some reason of playing in the association, as it were. So I offered last night, I was talking to him about it, seeing if he was excited, seeing if he wanted to go. He's like, nah, I've got plans to go see it with my buddies. I'm like, dude, you're 12. You still need someone to drive you there. So he was kind of like, maybe you could come too, Dad, maybe. So I don't know. He's becoming a teenager. He's making plans to go see that kind of thing, even though it's a cartoon. He wants to go see it with his buddies and not his old man. So, all right. Aha. I was about to say, seemed a little odd there that there was a gap. So there's a little hand crank here in our portcullis as well. Kind of a weird way to put this on. I have to hold it and pin it in through the back. Would not be typical for Lego instructions to handle it that way, but again, it's not Lego's bailiwick here. This is Bricklink Designer. Yeah, 673, another page with one instruction, and the instruction is that I add a gold coin on the floor. That's it. Really? So, anyway, kind of a silly theme to keep coming back to, but it is also a noticeable difference. Lego probably doesn't get enough credit for having good instructions from the casual fan. We're just sort of used to them being at the quality they are. So when you see something else like Bricklink Designer or even an off-brand and the instructions don't seem to flow quite as well, then you tend to start noticing it. It's probably like offensive linemen in football. If you don't notice it, then it's good. If you do notice it, that's a problem. Hopefully my audio's fine. I can see the little button jumping up and down on the mic there. You have to turn my head away quite a bit. I think this mic's pretty good at picking me up when I'm have my head turned, but please, if you can't hear me and you for some reason want to, let me know in the chat. All right, in a little bit here, we'll play a Tot-B song, probably after bag 20. This is bag 19 here, so one more bag, and then we'll play a song. Don't know which one yet, but we'll find one. All right, looks like we're putting in a stop. So we're gonna put something in so that gravity isn't the only thing keeping the portcullis design up or down. So a little break. So we can roll it up using the gear, and then that helps stop it. And to drop it, you just pull the little switch back. I do know that this webcam tends to focus and unfocus when I stick my hand in there. So sorry if it makes anyone feel queasy. Like to have a different camera at some point, but it's a pretty decent camera for that. It's just I don't know that I can manually tune the focus as well as I would like to. Let's give that a little try. I do have Logitune, but I bet Logitune will say, "Hey, I can't work your camera right now because you're using it for something else." Let's see here. Power on. That's all I can do. Oh, wrong entity. All right, let's see here. Autofocus. Ooh, turn that off. There we go. Wow. All right. That should help. So now we're not going to be autofocusing and unfocusing. Looks like we're focused pretty well. So look at that. We found the button. And if I need to adjust the camera at all, let me know. For me, it's on a relatively small picture. And the reason that it's on relatively small little image here is because I have to have the instructions up as well. As we've mentioned, Bricklink designer instructions, all digital. So there we have it. All right. Looks like it's sending me to bag 20 here, but I can tell that I missed at least one piece. So it looks like I can see where I missed it. It's right here. Right the way it's supposed to go. Looks like maybe I messed this up. It looks like it's supposed to go on like this, up here. And if that's the case, then I'm guessing I messed up the front here. A couple spots where this foliage is just tacked on like this. These little kind of bamboo shoot-like looking things. And so whenever I touch or tap those, they fall straight off right away. Grab the box here. I don't know. I can't even really see it on the box as to how that's supposed to look, but that's fine. Little L Bricks says hello. Hello, Little L Bricks. I hope you're having a nice Saturday and you wanted to see some live building of Outlaw Forest Den, because that's what we're doing. We'll be up to bag 20 here in a moment. So that was the end of bag 19. Got some sort of mechanism started for our portcullis, as well as some of the front rock work getting started. Now that I got the autofocus turned off on the webcam, hopefully it'll be more pleasant for everyone to watch. We're building another Wolfie figure. This is the second one that's had the dual molded legs with the black on top and then the brown boots down below. So that's what we have going on for us here. So that's what we got rolling here. This guy's got a messenger bag. We know earlier we had an issue with carrying around a little messenger pouch with one of our figures, this guy here, because he has a hood on and it doesn't really fit. So that's kind of one of the things that shouldn't really be designed to happen. But it did. And then we've got some fancy hair for our figure here. Hopefully the hair fits over the messenger bag. Looks like it does, just clear, so we're fine here. And then a little crossbow. One thing I've noticed about Lego and Lego instructions, and go back and look at this yourself, with the way they tend to put the figures on when they create an image for them, like all of the Lego figures must be left-handed. They always put the weapon or whatever in their left hand. So it's kind of funny. I subbed and liked. Thank you. Let's see here. Emily's saying, hey, I've had the Melon song in my head all day. We might play the Melon song here soon. One of the things we love to do on Think Outside the Blocks is do funny jokes. And sometimes our funny jokes become songs. And the songs are real earworms. Melon Song being one of them. Melon Song coming out of a heated exchange between a couple members of the crew about whether or not a watermelon is a plant. So that's what we have. What about the bathroom song? I might play that eventually too, at least if I have to go. Even though the song is titled Mark's Gotta Go, we might play it if Ben's gotta go at some point too. So we'll see. All right, so now we're back to working. It looks like we've got mostly rock work coming here, as that's what I have. Portcullis bag. Looking like it's still going to be a while. Maybe this will be the start of it. I see a lot in bag 21, the next bag. I see a decent number of tiles in there. So, in reddish brown. So maybe we'll get to that here in a little bit. All right. Okay. Let's see. Where's Mark? That's what Emily wants to know. Everyone wants to know where's Mark. Mark's everybody's favorite. I don't know. I just decided I needed to go live and finish this or get some work done on this so that I can reclaim my desk so I can work on my own builds. You can see some of my hexagon bases over here, as well as a blacksmith build. But, you know, I can't really clear those or start working on those until my desk has got a little bit of freedom. And it's covered right now in Outlaw Forest Den. We'll say the build's not super big. It's very compact, which is probably nice for storage space. But it's a relatively expensive set. Though I will say the part to price ratio on Bricklink designer sets is usually pretty good, especially when you get like 8 figures like we do on this one. But still, I think a lot of people, you know, when they have to spend $200 on a set, are expecting it to be more substantial in terms of width. And this one's not particularly enormous in that regard. But I don't mind. I think the value's still there. 8 figures for Wolfpack plus 2 Lion Knights. So that's not bad at all. Let's see here. Little L Brick says, do you know the LEGO Speed Champions Lightning McQueen? Well, I created the Speed Champions Mater, and it looks awesome. I posted it. Well, yes, we do, as part of Think Outside the Box, talk about news, and we were, of course, all aware of the Speed Champions Lightning McQueen. Ka-chow! So it looked like a pretty good build. Speed Champions, I do think, have a lot of value for probably every builder, not just those who like cars. So they have a lot of new slope pieces in them in new colors and new designs every time. So I think that's exciting for a lot of people who aren't necessarily motorheads to still potentially buy the sets. So having a Mater companion seems like it would make sense, since I don't know if Lightning McQueen is, well, he's probably, I mean, obviously he's the face of all of the movies except Cars 2, and Cars 2 was sort of a flop in that sense. But you know, having Larry the Cable Guy be his voice and have him kind of be the, you know, the stupid friend, they're usually very popular characters. So a little surprised they haven't done one yet. Doesn't mean they won't. They may have just been testing the waters with Lightning, and maybe they'll do a Mater. After you do Mater, though, do you really need to do any of the other ones? Probably not, but who knows? So the only way LEGO can create Mater is to have a lot of recolors of pieces. Well, LEGO's not afraid of that. So who knows? Maybe they'll do recolors. Maybe they won't. But yeah, they're just coming out right now with that orange cat. The orange cat is not orange. She's actually nougat colored, but apparently that one has a crazy number of recolors in it. In nougat. I don't know if it's medium nougat, I think is the official name of the color. So, not light nougat, which I think some people refer to as flesh. Sort of disingenuous because it's all peach. There are plenty of other flesh tones that aren't peach. But they have light nougat And I think they've got a dark nougat as well. That whole cat's medium nougat. They did a whole bunch of recolors for it. So they'll certainly commit to it. So there we go. I did find a very cool Doc Hudson on Rebrickable. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of one of those questions, though. If you're really into cars, that's great. Will the public in general, people who are just kind of have a passing fancy, be like, oh, I remember Doc Hudson. I need that one too. I suspect it's probably mostly Mater and Lightning. That's about all they can do. Again, page 699. How many pieces am I putting on? One slope. So does mean I have to scroll extra every step. But digital instructions, not the worst thing in the world. Rebrickable is, pretty cool place to expand your choice of build. Gives people a lot of opportunities, lots of fans, lots of opportunities to both profit off their creativity if they post designs, as well as just keep expanding your choice of Lego models by offering instructions for an inexpensive amount, usually, or free in some cases too when they're first posted. And usually, they'll have an alternate build for a castle, and it'll just essentially be, oh, my headphones just died. You guys don't care because I can't hear anything. No one's here to talk to me. So I'll plug them in to recharge and we can keep jibber jabbering as this goes here. So a really cool thing, Rebrickable, for both people who love to build, who don't necessarily want to come up with their own designs, as well as for fan builders to be able to put their work out there for people to enjoy as well. I did have a thought for Think Outside the Blocks about producing a little series. I have several of the last castle, not the Porcelite Castle, the Creator Castle, which was on shelves for quite a while. I found a number of them on clearance though, so I have kind of a small pile of them, and I was thinking of doing, what you could build with one of the Creator Castle, and then what you could build with two of the Creator Castle, or four of the Creator Castle. So I don't know if I'll still do that, but I do have those sets piled up. And that's the kind of thing that would be perfect if I was good enough with digital creating to do a Rebrickable. But we'll see. I see my mic stuff still bouncing, so I know I'm still talking. It's a little awkward when I play a song when I can't hear it because my headphones are dead. But I will do that in a little bit. After this bag, we'll play probably the Melon song since Emily requested it. Though maybe she dipped out because Mark's not here and she doesn't care if I'm here. But who knows? So we'll see in a minute if we can get that going. I think there are 29 bags, I want to say 28 or 29. This is bag, I believe, 20. So we're cruising right along here. Building up the rock front again. We still haven't really gotten anywhere on the main tower, but we do have the entrance to the Wolfpack tower, the main door, as it were. But maybe that's unfair. The portcullis is probably the main door. Looks like we're building some sort of rocky split here, because this is the only part that hinges open. You can see inside though, which is fun. So we'll see if we get there in a little bit. I think Emily may have dipped out as soon as she saw no Mark. We'll still play the Melon song anyway because it's a good one. All right. We've been building sort of these little rollers for the portcullis for quite a while here. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. All right. See, page, I'm on instruction 714 and page 671 of 917 pages. So I don't know how many total instructions there are. quite a few, it would seem. Looks like we've got another torch to put on here. Wonder if there would be some practical or good way to add lighting, a lighting kit to this set, because I think that would be fun. Lego doesn't do much for lighting. They do a little bit for it, but lots of third-party companies have come along and really filled in the gaps. And this seems like a perfect set to have some sort of light kit for all the torches and the little kitchen fire that they have for this thing. Quite a few torches in this. And just some sort of interior illumination inside the den itself. You could see inside there, even with the portcullis closed, would be kind of cool. So I do have plenty of lights around here. I don't know if people would enjoy that, but comment in the comments, or comment even on the replay gang, if anyone watches this after the fact, whether you'd like to see like a live build trying to rework or redesign something like this to incorporate lights into it. Lights I would probably use for this. There are lots of options out there. I'd probably use brick stuff, mostly because they're easy to get for other people, right? You can get them off their site. You can get them at Bricks and Minifigs if you have one in your area. For me now, it's like I almost assume everyone's got a Bricks and Minifigs, though I know that's not true. Minnesota didn't get them until the last couple of years, and now we have a ton of stores. But being able to get them at Bricks and Minifigs is a nice little bonus. And one of the things that they sell at Bricks and Minifigs, one of the things Brick Stuff came up with, I should say, in fairness, is like a single lighting kit for medieval builds. And so it would be fun, I suppose, and really practical to say, oh, hey, this is what you can do with a single medieval lighting kit from Brick Stuff. So if anyone thinks that would be cool, let me know in the comments, and we'll consider doing that. All right, now we're back down to the front. Looks like this part I had on wrong. It's hard to tell in the instructions. But we're adding a little bit of rock work here to the front. A little tricky to push on there one-handed. Again, I'm building kind of sideways here, so I can both see the instructions and any sort of comments if anyone puts one up, while also building. Looks like there's a couple little pieces of vegetation we might be sticking on here in a second. It's a very, very rock work intensive front here. Ciao, right? All right, another page where I only have one thing to put on, an entire instruction for one bit. All right, that there. And this here. And that should end bag 20. We do have one extra piece here that goes up here. So normally when you have extra pieces in a bag, they're all the 1x. You usually have one extra cheese slope of whatever color, one extra 1x1 flame, this one long Technic lift arm, and then I guess we call this the nipple piece, but any sort of 1x1 piece that's less than a brick, you tend to get an extra of. So you have two cheese slopes of the same color. You probably missed one. So that is the case there. I found it, and we're moving on. Okay, we're going to move to bag 21, but while we are getting ready to do that, we're going to play a song. I guess kind of hilariously, I think we were ditched by Emily, who really wanted to hear the Melon song, but we'll play it anyway. So let's see here. I think that one is probably called this one here, Melancholy. Here we go.
I'm no cactus, but I'ma give you a stick. He got a stick. I dug for a carrot and I fell on your stick. I thought it was corny, but how could I have known? No, you scanned my box, scanned my flower. You put me on a pedestal with the plans you desire.
anyway, how's the stream going?
I'm sorry, I'd like to ask a question. We did have a hiccup. Mark, is watermelon
Like peas in a pod. I'm falling out. It started out spicy, and now I'm seeing red. Woo! You'll never get me in that peely bone disguise. A slice of melon. It's not a plan. A fruit you eat it deep into the night. A slice of melon. It doesn't feel so right because melon stops growing off the vine.
What happened here
or
tonight?
just me?
All right. That was the end of the song. Like I said, when I'm not listening to it, it becomes a challenge to know when to restart. All right, we're turning the headphones back on. We're plugged in though, so hopefully we should be good to go. Looks like we are indeed onto the portcullis finally. So the portcullis, sort of that gate-like looking thing, it's going to go down over the front here to the big entrance into the Wolfpack Den. So we'll work on that here. One thing that's distracting when I'm wearing the headset with the cable on it is it rubs against my shoulder. I know you guys can't hear it, but I can hear it every time I move my head side to side. It's really annoying, which is why I'd prefer to just have the battery up and running, or have it running on its normal old battery. But I guess that is not to be. Design-wise, apparently I've messed something up here. It looks like this one's... Oh, none of them are shorter. Okay. Okay, let's try this. This is a correct design. Aha, this is supposed to go over here. We figured it out. That's not normally how I would think to build this, which is probably why I was a little confused on the instructions there. So, Emily says, admit I was singing along to that. So she hasn't, in fact, ditched us. She is still here for that song. So there we go. All right, now we're adding these L-shaped bits, which helps fill out the rest of the portcullis. I dropped some there. And then looks like we're going to get some more L-shaped bits, this time in the vein of tiles. All right. So portcullis coming along nicely. Hopefully it is now better that I've ditched the autofocus on my webcam. I could never get it to work before, but it worked today to turn it off. Normally when I would try to open it and StreamYard was also using the webcam, it would tell me it was unavailable and I couldn't turn off the autofocus. But able to do it today. So very exciting for me at least. All right. Looks like we need to add some more L-shaped bracket or L-shaped tiles to this bad boy as we go along. So I want to know in chat, those of you who are so inclined, is a watermelon a plant? Is it? And we'll move on to sort of the secondary question. I think it's pretty obviously it is a plant. But obviously we got into quite the debate about that with Lene, who loves to win. She loves all games. We were playing a game about collectible minifigures. I said, how many plant collectible minifigures have we had? And she was very passionately objecting to the idea that the watermelon was a plant. Sorry, my head hit the mic there. I think part of the, issue in her defense is that it's a slice of watermelon. It's not just any old watermelon. So is a slice of watermelon a plant is maybe a more technical question. But to me, it's, whether it's a slice or not, it's still a plant. Grows on a vine. It's a plant. But that's all there is to it. Emily asks, will I play the bathroom song? Eventually I will. When I either have to go or I have to go get some water. So yes, we will eventually get to the bathroom song. Of course, the fastest way to ever get any sort of song played is to do a super chat and request it. We don't really promote that a lot. We're not like, hey, we'll only play songs for super chats, because we like to play them and sing along and have fun with them too. But I do love to say that, just because I think it's funny, if nothing else. All right. All right. So design-wise now, interesting. We have to add a bunch more of these L-shaped brackets all the way down, essentially, on this side. And we'll get to our final portcullis design. That's one thing about any sort of Lego design like this, where it's every other spot, you're oftentimes going to end up with an odd number build. So it's an odd number wide, and it has to fit inside here. The reason it's going to fit nicely, though, is because the sort of the rails inside, if you will, the bumpers, the rollers that help it go up and down, are on Technic bricks, 1x2 Technic bricks with the hole in the middle. So because of that, it's basically offset by one total stud between the two sides. So it makes it the right width for this to be able to slide down. So we'll get to that here in a minute. So there's half the pork, well, more than half. One side of the two is completely done. We'll get to the other side now. I've done a number of different portcullis designs over the years. I like the ones that look more like wrought iron, like more of an iron look than a wood look. But this is cool too. I like this. It's a nice design. It works well. All right, so there's our portcullis, ready to be slammed down in front of the main door here. All right, so we'll slide this on in and down. Boom, there it goes. Kind of interestingly, in the instructions, they have it in such a fashion that it looks like it's floating in midair for the next several steps. But you got to connect the chain here to the 1x1 Technic brick on the inside. And now it'll be able to raise and lower, but it won't raise and lower that much, I will say. So I don't know if there's more to this than that, because this will barely open it. So maybe there'll be more to it, and I'm just jumping the gun here. But we will put in the stops on the sides so the portcullis can't raise any higher than it's supposed to. And then we will see if I've jumped the gun on the design and there's actually supposed to be something else going on here. All right. When will I play the bathroom song? I already answered that, but it'll be soonish. Aha! There is another step. I should have known. I should have known. So the way this is designed is actually kind of smart. So normally I would think that the chain is supposed to connect to the roller here, and it does. But I knew that wouldn't be able to roll the portcullis up because it's in sort of the middle of the basically barely over the top of the portcullis here. So, and the chain's extra long. So I was like, how's this going to work? Well, there's going to be a bar up here that this slips around, and then it'll fold down, and that'll help us be able to raise the portcullis at least up to the top of the bar. So a good design there, good design thought. This way the mechanism for lifting the portcullis can still be in the middle. It doesn't have to be up super high. And we can go from there. So pretty cool design idea. I like it. Might be something I use. It's pretty simple, I suppose. Maybe should have been obvious to me. I don't know, but it wasn't. I knew for sure that the way I was thinking it was going to work there was not going to work. So I was correct in that regard, at least. All right, so now we'll put on this extra little roller piece to help us raise up our portcullis height, maximum height. Now we'll connect it on the inside here. And now when we roll that portcullis wheel, it should raise up nicely. So we'll flip around to the front so we can see it. We do have ourselves on the side here a little gear to raise it. So there it goes. Pretty smooth. And then we've got the stop. That's the maximum you can lift it. So you still see the teeth at the very top there. But pretty well designed there. I like that. I like that. The other thing Mark and I talk about a lot on the stream is pareidolia. So that's when you see a face in an inanimate object. Here we've got a mouth with teeth. We don't quite have eyes yet. But it does give you a little bit of a face, like maybe squinty eyes here. Like a squinty face. So I don't know if you guys feel the same or not, but it's giving me a little bit of pareidolia there. All right. Looks like we're finishing off the inside of the tower here. And then we will move on to hopefully, or the inside of the portcullis rock part, move on to actually building the tower. So we'll play the bathroom song after this bag. We'll transition over to the next bag with that song. So there we go. We'll say the one part I'm struggling with here is finding a 1x2. There it is. There she be. And then a little ladder here so you can get up to the next level. Tucked in there. Ugh. Design-wise, that was maybe not the best. Looks like we probably should have put this on before we put on this L-shaped brick. So the instructions kind of made that difficult to get in there. But that's okay. Again, this is an 18+ set. People will figure it out. And maybe that's part of the reason they set them all as 18+ is because the instructions aren't as clear as they would be on a Lego design, a purely Lego-based design. I know Bricklink, Lego, they're, the same company these days, but regardless. All right. And not building this quite the way it says in the instructions. I don't got the model rotated a little bit. Again, if you're just joining us, we're building Outlaw Force Den for Bricklink Designer series. I got mine relatively quickly. And both of the sets I ordered, which were this one and the Art Factory, came on the same day. So I got them pretty early in the cycle. Normally what we do on this channel is we host a live stream on Sundays where we talk about Lego news, of course, and silliness. But we also show what we're building for our own creations. And what I've been building lately has been a Blacktron rover, as well as a little Blacktron fighter. I do, though, do a lot of castle. So you'll see in the background, I've got some castle hexagons there. I've got over in this side, There's a stable over there, and I've got a blacksmith over here. I kind of moved them out of the way so that they were not distracting while we were trying to build the Outlaw Forest Den here. So that's what we're working on today. We'll be live again on Sunday to talk about our mocks and the Lego news. Not a lot of Lego news this week. And I suppose you can't have every week like last week where we had a ridiculous amount of Lego news. Sometimes you just get a little bit of Lego news. So I do know that there's a McLaren, another Technic McLaren that we'll talk about. But not a lot of other Lego news outside of that. At least not yet. Sometimes Lego likes to be sneaky and they will release some news like right on Sunday, right before we go live on the show, or even today they could release something. Heck, they may have announced something this morning and I haven't seen it. I don't know. So you occasionally get a little more Lego news, but weeks where there's not so much Lego news, we still like to have fun. We still like to talk about what we're building. We still like to play some of our silly songs. We still like to play a game usually. So we'll still do all that stuff. I don't know if any of my co-hosts for Think Outside the Blocks ordered any of the other Bricklink designer sets. I know Mark was ogling the Art Factory, but I don't know if he picked it up or not. So we'll see. Brickdad usually ends up with a couple of sets from the designer program. So I'm not sure which ones he picked up, if any, but he is occasionally also getting them. A little bit of black added here in the form of some tiles. And actually that is a good sign. I think that means we are almost to the part where we're going to start building the tower itself. Of course, chat, if you guys want to talk about anything, you want to know something about the set, you want to know something about Brickworld, you want to know something about what I'm building, whatever, put it in there so I don't just have to make up the topics. Love to talk about what you guys want to talk about, not just me droning on. It's a bit of a surprise live stream. I just turned it on today so I could get my table cleared, finishing off the set here. So started at, I don't know, it was like 8:15. Bit of an odd time to start, but that's when I happen to be down here and ready to go. And so that's always the benefit of liking and subscribing. We even have a banner for it. So feel free to do that. We do go live. Normally our surprise live streams tend to be build live streams. We don't do a ridiculous number of them either. But when we have a set that we're really excited for, like this one, or when the Enterprise finally came out, the Star Trek Enterprise was finally released, we just had to get on and build the set. So you'll occasionally see special builds like that. Sometimes we try to coordinate and build together, the whole group of us from Think Outside the Blocks. We live built the beautiful dolphin set, as well as we did some building of the cement mixer. So maybe those aren't quite as exciting for adult fans as something like the Wolfpack Tower would be here, or apologies, the Outlaw Forest Den. It is sort of a bit of an homage to Wolfpack, including a little bit to the Wolfpack Tower in terms of some of the design and look of it. I also really talked quite a bit about, in the first part, about the little cart that comes with this that's blue. The Lion Knights are driving this one, but this is definitely a modernization of one of the very first Wolfpack sets where they had a blue cart like this. I think the more interesting part is that it has a false bottom, and that there's underneath here, there's a spot for another treasure chest. So you can keep all your real gold down under there and put the stuff that's not so valuable up top here. So that's what we've got cooking there. we do have both of our Lion Knights built. It included this painted shield version that they were producing, I believe, in the medieval town square. So that's one of the things I've really said I like about Bricklink designers. They understand what the fans want on the minifig front. So they always give us pieces that are only available in, one or two other major Lego releases, or they give us a lot of figures that we're really interested in. Like this one has a lot of Wolfpack figures in it. What did I do here? This is what I did here. This is supposed to go here. What happened? What did I do? We misfired. All right. I figured it out. So 8 Wolfpack figures in this Outlaw Forest Den. That's, a nice variety, a nice chunk of figs, as it were. All right, so catching back up here, this goes here. And then we will get to this last little bit on the edge here. And then we'll be finally on, I hope, to building parts of the tower next. So if I see a decent amount of black in the next bag, there's a little bit. So we're going to build a little bit more tower. But I think we're also going to build some of the backside here of the Outlaw Forest Den. And I say that because I see a matching brown plate to this one. It does have one little tiny hinge out part, as you can see right here. So I think we're going to start building this part up until we get up to the tower there. It's the other thing I've noticed about this set. Quite a few of these bamboo pieces are sort of precariously placed around. They come off really easily. So it's not that that's the worst thing in the world, but I have to keep putting them back on. All right, while I get this next bag opened, we will play a song. Emily's only requested it about 15 times. This is the song we normally play when Mark needs to go to the bathroom during the stream. And so, of course, it's called Mark's Gotta Go. Here we go.
A wise man once said about Mark, you think he drinks water like a great white shark. About every 60 minutes, he's gotta go. Nature calls 2, sometimes 3 times a show. Hold the stream, he'll shout and dash. The show is live, but he's off like a flash. Instead of telling him you hold the stream, Ben provides cover, the perfect team.
Yeah.
But let's get into some of the news. Do you need the bathroom break before we go?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the bathroom break now. And then 40 minutes later, I have to take another bathroom break. Like, hey, I made it 2 hours. Now it's like, well, now you're making up for lost time. So I'm going to go. Nope, here's the right one. And I'm going to use the bathroom.
Of course you are.
You're going to go. Why don't you start with those? Because unfortunately, I have to use the bathroom again already.
Cool, go do it.
What's it called? What's BPH?
BPH.
It plays a tune 2 minutes long while the tainted sing along. Keeps the show rolling smooth, no rush. Mark mutes his mic so you can't hear the flush.
Mark is muted, so let me unmute him.
The reason I mute myself before I go is because I like to keep listening to what's going on, but I don't want everyone to hear me pee.
Yeah, I managed.
It's been 60 minutes since I last went, so I'll mute it and I'll be listening.
Fair enough. Yeah,
You'll be listening to me.
Hey, Mark's gotta go. No interrupting the strange flow. He'll be quick, won't take too long. He'll be done by the end of this song. Hey, Mark's gotta go. Mark's gotta go. Hey, Mark's gotta go.
Mark's got to go. Yeah, none of my co-hosts are here this morning. I didn't really tell them I was going live. I just needed to work on this sooner rather than later because part of my day-to-day is going to be co-hosting or hosting my daughter's birthday party. So I had to get the move on here early. It's nice to have someone else from the stream on, of course, so that I don't just have to talk over and over and over, especially if no one in the chat hint is asking any questions for me to talk about. But when the other guys are in here, we do tend to spend a lot of time not talking about what I'm building. And we just sort of hang out and have fun, which is fine, right? Don't get me wrong. But sometimes I'll try to interject to talk about the actual set, you know, the title topic of the stream. And I almost feel like wrong for interrupting the nonsense to talk about, you know, the actual Lego. And I probably shouldn't have to feel that way, but I do. Let's see here. Smokey says, did you have fun at the dance last night, Ben? I certainly did. So last night was the daddy-daughter dance. And my little daughter is a Valentine's baby. So she turned 10 on Valentine's Day. And so we do go, it's technically not a daddy-daughter dance. That tends to be who's there, but it's actually the sweethearts dance is what it's called. So moms can bring their sons or moms can bring their daughters. You know, any sort of special friend, I guess, can bring a child with. But for the most part, it is dads and daughters. So I should be correcting myself there with what it's actually called. But that's, of course, what my daughter likes to call it. It's her big date with daddy. The first time we ever went to the Sweethearts dance, she wanted to, I let her pick, of course, the dinner location, and she picked Leanne Chin's. I don't know why, but she did. There's, you know, other restaurants in existence other than Leanne Chin's, but that was perfectly fine. So now that's what we typically do. The one that's closest to my house, the Leanne Chin's, closed. So we had to drive a little further to find one, but it was still relatively close to the dance. And this year, she had two of her friends go. So the three of them spend some time dancing together. And I'll tell you, I don't mind that because then I don't have to spend the entire time dancing. As you get older and less in shape, you get really sweaty when you start dancing with children with a ton of energy. So being able to take a break and let her dance with her friends, she would kind of feel, I don't know, almost obligated to dance with me sometimes. So she'd be like, can I dance with my friends, Dad? I'm like, absolutely. Like, let me sit down. Let me get some water. So we did that. I will say my daughter is quite a bit like me in certain ways. What she wanted to do when we got home, she wanted to watch Starfleet Academy with me, if you can believe this, and build a Lego set. So that's what we did when we got home. She built a cat birthday party. My wife is calling me, so I'm going to go on mute quick. She's probably asking me about breakfast. I'll be right back. Better yet, let's play a song while I talk to her. We're going to go with These Are Not Seeds. Here we go.
I went looking for sunflowers, a packet of seeds. Wanted to garden even though it's only 30 degrees. Winter don't scare me, I'll plant in the snow. But what showed up, man, I don't even know. Followed the instructions, added every part. Thought it was odd, there was no soil to start. As the pieces clicked together, it finally dawned. Something here is incredibly wrong. These are not seeds, no, not even close. Just tiny The search said sunflowers, I said, hell yeah, I'll buy. But plastic blooms don't blossom no matter how hard I try. Now my friends keep asking, how's the garden going? And I say it's plastic, it's flimsy, and it's not growing. These are not seeds, no, not even close. Just tiny plastic bricks in a sunflower pose. I tried to grow a garden, but instead I built a toy. Left a bad review. Hey, what's the point? No dirt, no roots, no petals in the breeze. Just plastic flowers. No, no, these are not seeds. Not seeds, not seeds. So if you want sunflowers, take it from me. Read the listing twice, 'cause these are not seeds. These are not seeds. These are not seeds. These are not seeds. No, no dirt, no roots, no petals in the breeze. Just plastic flowers. No, no, these are not seeds. Not seeds, not seeds. Not seeds, not seeds. Not seeds. No, no, these are not seeds.
All right, that's probably very confusing to people who aren't regular viewers of the stream. But a lot of times when we do a little bit of silliness, a little bit of some sort of game, it ends up generating some sort of memory that we have that has to be memorialized in song. That particular one, we were looking at Amazon reviews for various Lego sets, and we were trying to guess what their complaints were for giving a low score to a set of some type. That one was on the Sunflower Lego set, and someone gave it a 1-star review because they thought they were buying, at least the review said this, I don't know if it's true or not, they thought they were buying seeds. I don't know why, but they thought they were buying sunflower seeds, and when they got their Lego set in the mail instead of seeds, they were disappointed. I almost can't believe that that's a real review. Hopefully it was somebody just having fun. But if it's real, they now have a song. It's called These Are Not Seeds. And there you have it. So that is why that song exists, for anyone who was curious. Also, anyone who was curious why my wife was calling me, she needed to know where the remote for the TV was because she wants to watch the Olympics today. So, Emily says, can you play the Suck song? I don't know that I'll play that one today because we are still early in the morning. And if some person wanders in the stream here, we're not late at night. I don't know how many F-bombs they really should be hearing this early in the morning. But another one of our favorite songs. It's about how my opinion sucks. It's called Ben's Opinion Sucks. And there's, I don't know, 30 F-bombs dropped in that song. There's a lot. So if you want to view us after dark, after 11 o'clock at night, then we tend to play that song. But plenty of other bangers that we have that we can play. Last night we played, not last night. On Thursday, we played a number of our best hits. We didn't play all of them, though. We skipped Orange Spaceships, which for a long time was our number one song. Since then, we've had a number of songs come out that are absolute bangers, as we say as well. So Orange Spaceships, not quite as popular as it once was, but we didn't play it. So we might play that one a little later. Probably should play Accoutrement. That's probably our number one banger right now. That one is all about lifestyle shots, Lego lifestyle shots, which we enjoy making fun of. So there you have it. So thanks, Smokey, for remembering that I had a date with my daughter last night. Lots of fun. And the end of the night, she always asks me, the DJ says something like, hey, we had lots of fun. Let's do it again next year. So then my daughter always says, we're coming back next year, right, Daddy? It's kind of hard to say no. At some point, she'll be too old for it. And I know that. So even if it's, a lot of physical dancing activity and sweat and work to put on a tie and a shirt and a suit, you still do it because it's a memory. It's a core memory. She always tells me how much fun she has. Hopefully she's not just placating me. But I don't think she is. Lots of energy from that girl. Lots of positive vibes. She's a positive vibes kind of gal. So today we'll go do her art birthday party. And tomorrow my son has an end of season basketball party. So fun weekend will be had by all. And of course me, I get to stream. So stream and build Wolfpack Tower. Sorry, Outlaw Forest 10. Keep calling it by the old Lego set name. And I do believe I have a copy of the Wolfpack Tower on my shelf behind me here. Actually, I do. I can see it way up top there. So this has a little bit of Wolfpack Tower vibes, but not a ridiculous amount. I would say it's safely, it's definitely more of an homage than a replica for sure, but it's safely different. So we'll take a look at Wolfpack Tower here in a second because I can see it. I'll make everybody sick moving the big screen, so I'll switch over. Get to see my face while I move the little camera. Way up top there, you can see it. Let's see if we can get in on it. We'll switch back over. There, you can see Wolfpack Tower way up at the top there. Right there. So I do keep a few classic castle sets together along with some of my own designs. That was one of them. Another one, of course, right there is the ever so classic Black Falcon Fortress. I think it has a different name. It's not actually called Black Falcon Fortress, but that's what I've always called it. And then over here on this side, we have the Knight's Castle, another classic. So a few classic sets as well as some of my own designs. The thing I'm also really enjoying right now, so you'll see a number of those, are these construction sets that Lego's been doing lately. Construction vehicles. So keeping those together, I feel like they're going to be classics someday with just how well designed they finally are. Not super juniorized like they used to do with all the construction sets. So really liking that. All right, so here we go. Back to the build. We've got some work here on the back side. Again, it hinges open here. So you'll be able to see inside and play inside the den itself and get access to the portcullis and all that stuff. But that's the part we're working on now, is the little tower in the back, and then there'll be a larger tower here when we're done. Sort of the final part of the build. We're adding ourselves a window. Ooh, a little design choice that I wouldn't normally see. Well, I guess it's because I skipped a step. These were supposed to go on. What to say? Having a part connected that way is kind of precarious. There we go. That's not so bad. That looks good. All right, so we got our window there. And we'll get this part on here. Be an awkward conversation later when Mark or Brick Dad say, "Hey, when are you guys going to finish building Wolfpack Tower, Ben?" And I'm going to be like, "I already did." Or Outlaw Forest 10. Nice chunk of leftover parts. Same thing though. I always like to make sure that I only have one of the 1x1 parts and cheese slopes. I don't have two, so I didn't miss anything. Looks like they're all ones, all singles. So I think I did it. I think we're fine. All right, Smokey says, "Glad you had fun. Savor the moments." Yeah, where they actually want to hang out with you. Many girls don't care to hang out with their parents around the teenage years or preteen years. Yes, indeed. Yeah, my son, who's 12, is he still likes us enough and still thinks we're cool enough. But yeah, like I was saying, there's that new basketball movie with the animated one with the goat, and my son's just completely like, oh, I'm totally gonna go see that with my friends. I'm like, dude, you don't have a car, you don't have anyone that drives. Someone's got to take you there. Someone probably has to pick you back up. I'm not sure if I would. He'd do fine, in there alone with his friends, but it's just kind of, I don't know that I'm quite ready for that yet. But yeah, teenage girls, right? They can be a challenge, or so I've heard. Wouldn't know myself. I was never one. But there we go. Oh, a rat and some cheese in this next section. So that's always fun. Yeah, my daughter has a good group of friends. She's a lot like me. She's relatively introverted, gets nervous about talking to strangers, but she's got some girlfriends who are, sort of ride or die with her. So hopefully that'll continue, but you never know. As you get older, as you move to high school, your friendships change. She's the kind of person, though, that I think will always have a couple of really good, really close friends. And I don't know. I guess I kind of prefer the idea that your friends are real friends as opposed to just sort of in flux. But what do I know? What do I know? All right, so we're getting I think we're gonna get a little tiny roof up over the window in the back here. Rotate it a little so we can see that we're working on that. And hopefully after this part's done, I know there's going to be a sloped roof on this of some sort. We'll finally get to the main attraction here. Looks like there's going to be a brown piece up here eventually to sort of level this off. Get us moving to finally get to the actual tower part itself. All right. Why am I excited for the tower part? You may ask. Nobody did, but you may. It's because they have a couple of large flags that they require stickers, but can never get enough heraldry, in my opinion. So being able to access a couple of those flags will be a good thing. I think this is supposed to sit on like this, like slightly crooked. So that's fine. Jesse's Bricks Galaxy is here this morning. Good morning, Jesse. Because I was on my date last night with my daughter, I didn't get to see Friday Night Bricks yesterday, but I know you guys weren't doing, or you shouldn't have been doing D&D. It should have been an off week. Sorry, you're not even doing D&D right now, but it would have been an off week for gaming. So hopefully you guys had fun on Friday Night Bricks yesterday. All right, so we're working here on this Wolfpack Bricklink set. I constantly want to call it the Wolfpack Tower, but it's not. It's the Outlaw Forest Den. We are on bag, I think 22? No, 23 it looks like. Got a whole pile of bags next to me here. 23 out of, I think it's going to be about 20, I want to say it's 29 bags. It's 28 or 29. So we're getting closer. Emily corrects, it's not the morning for her. It's the afternoon, actually, in jolly old England. But of course, I'm not in jolly old England. So for me, it is good morning. For Jesse, it's good morning as well. So there we have it. I do like on this build in general the sort of palisade looking wood palisade things they got going on here. Where they don't have walls necessarily. That is, I think, a area of medieval building that Lego doesn't do enough of. They did a bit of it. They were big fans of like log forts when they had like Fort Legorado. So that was a Wild West set. So they have occasionally leaned into it, but not really a whole bunch. And here we've got a variety of colors, both the dark brown and the reddish brown, as well as some nougat, and then the top where you shave them down to be little spikes. With the wood being shaved, it's the dry, non-barked dead wood in the middle here, so they have the caps in tan. So I think it's a pretty good design there. Let's see here. Let's see. I have the Wolfpack Den staring back at me. All right, there you go. So maybe Jesse ordered one too. I don't know. You're surrounded by Yanks, Emily. Yeah, Yankees, Emily. Yanks, question mark. We assumed that you called us the Yankees. I don't know that I want to be associated with being a Yank or a Yankee, but yeah, that was the reference. I don't know why Emily's confused. Maybe she's not really from jolly old England and she's just been lying to us this whole time. She's really somewhere else. She does spell words in the old English version with the neighbor has that extra O towards the end, or extra U, sorry. Always has the O. So who knows? What are Yanks? I already answered that. But yeah, you could just be a touch behind in the chat. All right, so the entire roof here, it looks like, the only thing that's in it is some cheese and a rat. So I don't know why we left cheese up there for the rat, but we did. And this is kind of flimsy here. I know that it's just off on the arch, but it pushes around pretty badly when I'm trying to attach pieces on it. It'll be fine, I think, when it's done. Looks like right now we're building a support for a roof. The actual roof pieces, it looks like we don't have, but I definitely have some parts to support an angled piece here. So there'll definitely be a roof on top of this, from what I can see. But the actual pieces for the roof, probably in the next bag. So imagining we'll see some dark red and red in the next bag. To move on to that. So look at that. Every time push it on, it's like, see how bad it flexes? I'm not worried that it won't support the weight when it's built. It's really just an issue of flexing while you're trying to construct it. Let's see here. Smokey says, no, the baseball team, Americans or Northerners, which were commonly referred to by non-Americans and Southern U.S. Southerners. Oh boy, that's a lot of words. Yeah. So basically, it was a slang insult back in the day, or a description of people who lived in parts of the United States, and it was used by the Brits, among others. Say those Yanks, those Yankees. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if it's a slang or an insult necessarily. It was always taken as pride. I don't know if it's one of those things where, like a Canuck, I think the Canadians don't like it when non-Canadians say Canuck. It's not really not really a terrifyingly scary word to say, I don't think. It's like calling someone a dummy. Oh, you dumb Canuck. But of course, only the Canadians can call each other that. All right, so here we're building our brackets to support the roof when it's finally ready to go. I don't know if this also means that the roof will kind of hinge open. You'll be able to see it regardless, because when this is opened, it'll be open on the inside. But who knows? All right, so we're working here. Let's see. Oda says, hey, thanks for coming into my stream last night. Hope you're having a good day. That may have been someone else on Think Outside the Box. It wasn't me. Last night I was at the daddy-daughter dance. The sweethearts dance with my sweetheart, my daughter, who is going to have a birthday party today because she just turned 10 on Valentine's Day. So that is super fun and exciting for her. One of her friends has to stay the night as well. She needs. Not that it's a bad thing, but her parents are occupied. So she said, "Hey, after her party, can she have a sleepover with a friend?" Said, yeah, perfect, perfect. Yeah, Smokey says maybe the Canadians shouldn't have called their hockey team that if they found it insulting. Yeah, that's a good point. Though I do think it's funny that a good chunk of the Canadian hockey teams are named after Canada. And that's not to say that Americans don't do that to some extent. You know, we've got the Capitals from Washington and whatever else. But just think about the Canadian teams. They have the Canucks, they had the Nordiques, they have the Canadiens. I mean, that's pretty on the nose. Name your team the Canadiens. They have the Maple Leafs. So like half their teams are named after some national symbol of Canada are actually named Canadian. So I don't know. There's definitely a thing in Canada, an inferiority complex maybe, or just maybe some desire to be differentiated from the US that makes them like extra proud of being Canadian. And I can't really talk. Minnesota does the same thing. It's like, you know, we're not LA and New York. We're where the real Americans live in America. We always get excited about how you know, Minnesota's got more athletes in the Winter Olympics than any other state, you know, nonsense like that. So we've got that inferiority complex thing too. So you're not alone, Canada. All right. So here we go. Yeah, flyover country, right? That's what some people would call it. On to bag 24. Looks like we are building a roof. So no surprise there. Pretty sure everybody knew that's where we were going next. We built the brackets and everything else. Looks like we've got a roof and some more rocks. We'll say I had noted earlier, I thought that we could have had several fewer bags than we've had thus far. As I noted, though, one of the things I like about Bricklink Designer to some extent is that there's not a lot of extra color that you maybe don't want or need in your palette. Though I understand why Lego does kind of what we sometimes refer to as rainbow puke inside a build. And the whole reason is it makes the building experience more enjoyable when you can differentiate parts, right? So I think that they have a good reason for doing it. But in the Bricklink ones, you don't get that as much. For the most part, you know, everything inside is also dark bluish gray underneath all the plates, even if you can't see it. So it's not the kind of thing Lego would do, but that's fine. See, this is interesting too. Let me share this step. Share screen. There it is. Okay, so let me share this on here. So here, for example, building the roof, right? And then all of a sudden the roof is just attached and you're putting more plates on it. They don't have some section to insert the roof on here. Also, normally speaking, I think we would build the entire roof in a Lego instruction and then attach it, because it's going to be hard to press down the plates when I have it on here. So I think I'm probably going to build the entire roof and then slot it on, as opposed to what the instructions are telling me here. So it's just another one of those things. It's a minor detail, honestly, but you know, it is something that's a little different from the way Lego would do a design. So let's see here. Anything else anyone have on their mind? Hopefully it's a beautiful day. It's a Saturday. Wherever you are. It's nice outside, I hope. If you live in the Midwest like me, hopefully the snow's melted off your driveway. All that fun stuff. So We always have, and somebody posted this, the old false spring where we have this weird short term period where we have temperatures up in the 50s and some of the snow melts, and then all of a sudden we get a snowstorm again, which is what happened to us this week. So hope you didn't put your snowplow away, your snowblower away, because you needed to get it back out again. But that's just how it goes sometimes. Gotta just respect the snow gods. They do what they want. Mother Nature doesn't care about what we think. All right. Yeah, don't name half your hockey teams Canadians. That was the moral of our last story. Don't know why I'm talking about it again, but I am. All right, so there's the roof. I assume that it's probably ready to go on now. Yeah, it looks like we're moving on to some more rock work afterwards. So nice little grassy roof, couple different colors. We'll see how well it goes on. See how well it goes on here. Might be a little tricky to get on. There we go. Wasn't too bad getting it on the inside. Yeah, swings open. You can see on the inside here when it swung open. Little rat with the cheese. So we can get that in there. And again, every time I touch this, I seem to knock bamboo pieces off. So I don't know if they're just not strategically placed or they're not sticking down as well as they could. There we go. All right, so now we're back onto some more rock work. There's kind of the back tower piece. Black and light bluish gray and some dark bluish gray. Very Wolfpacky like colors. Got a little cave entrance down here that goes underneath the stairs and out the other side, so you can kind of pass through. And there's apparently some water that streams out of somewhere that you're stepping over when you go up the bridge. So there you go. You can kind of see the little path there underneath. It's kind of fun. All right, back to the build. We are indeed creating more rocks. Seems to be the theme here. Also, with the way this is built, I assume that when we start building the tower, it will be modular in the sense that it'll just lift off, because I've got the kind of the typical tile with a stud here and there thing going on for the design. All right. Yeah, we're moving along nicely here. So this is big, what, 24? Yep, 24. So hopefully these last couple bags will mostly be the tower. And then we'll be able to show it off when we're all done. It's been a pretty straightforward build. Like I said, there's been a couple of weird instructions in here in terms of at least not how Lego would do them. Not that that necessarily means that they're wrong, but just the number of times I've only put one piece on in an instruction. It's been a little unusual. But again, I don't know. I've said this 15 times. They're not printed instructions. They are all digital on Bricklink Designer. So, you could put on one piece every single page. It doesn't kill any paper or use any ink unless you were planning on printing out the instructions yourself, which would not recommend. Tried to build off an iPad yesterday or Thursday when I was doing this, my daughter's old iPad. I couldn't get it to charge. When I first brought it down here, it was at 54%. And after just using it for like 5 minutes, it was already down to like 12%. Tried to plug it in, would not take a charge. I think that's part of the reason we finally replaced the thing for her birthday. So I'm building with the instructions on the computer here. We know in all the Lego lifestyle shots, they know that every person owns a tablet, because that's usually what they show people working off of, is a tablet or an iPad. But I have the PC here, so That works just fine, but kind of makes me sit sideways and have to turn my head a bunch to build. At least you're looking mostly at my face instead of the side of my head in the little camera. Who knows? Maybe nobody needs to see my face. Build's the part that's important, right? So again, one piece on here. And I'm guessing that I've got some more foliage. Some of it might go on here. So why didn't we put on some of the foliage when we attached this one brick? I don't know. But we didn't. So yeah, some foliage is going on over here. It's just kind of how we operate, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, done some more. Kind of where I suspected some of that foliage might go. Dropped one piece down into the hole here. Onto the back of the tower here. There goes the palisade. All right, let's go back on. Now there's little steps outside the main door here, up into the tower. No door over that into this main tower area. It's just kind of an open archway, which is fine. And then there's a ladder behind the portcullis on this side to go up into the main tower. That's the part we haven't built yet. So I'd imagine we are getting ourselves set up to finally move over to the main tower there. And last but not least, final step in this bag is to attach a couple of pieces of foliage over here, way on the back side. To spin the whole thing around, to stick on 2 leaves. So it wants this leaf down in here. Probably would have put this on before I put this piece on in a Lego instruction. And then one little green leaf down here. There we have it. So this kind of asked whether or not the roof would open. It does, but unintentionally. It's just hinged facing downward. But you can see the very exciting rat with cheese up in there. So there we go. So that's where we are so far. It looks like pretty much what we're down to now is the tower. I'm also guessing over here I've got a little hinged piece and some missing stuff in the palisade. Guessing there'll be some sort of tree here. So there's probably a rocky cave with a tree. And the tree will probably be one of the last things that we put on. So let's keep going. What bag are we on? 25. 25 and 26 have a lot of black and gray in them. So I think we are finally onto the Wolfpack Tower itself. Or the tower part of the Outlaw Forest Den. Again, keep saying the wrong words here. I know seeing this big panel piece that we have a big sticker that's got a map on it. That's going to go on that. Not looking forward to putting that on. But we'll get to there eventually. Let's see here. Somebody named Theo. Latour Newer Theo. I love you. You are amazing. Well, thank you. I hope that's true. Even if you don't, thank you anyway. All right. Looks like we're going to be able to put on our big Wolfpack flag as well. So we've got a couple of big sticker moments coming up on this particular section of the build. So let's get going. Some more gold too, it looks like. Lots of gold scattered throughout the Outlaw Forest Den. So they are obviously collecting their treasure and just sort of leaving it wherever throughout this thing here. All right, so here we go. We're building the tower. Yep, and in fact, it looks like we'll build the entire tower and then just sort of stick it on the build at the end. So we'll move this back a little so we get a little more focus on the tower itself. Starting with this as our base, plus this piece here to square it off. So we have our sort of pre-built hole in the bottom of the tower to come up. Hopefully some of this will get covered up on this side as well. So there's a little more floor to step on. Yeah, it looks like it does. So I guess I'm not very good when I'm doing designing for stuff like this where you need, an access hole. I don't tend to do a lot of interior building. Most of my builds are just facades anyway. But kind of using this piece that usually has the hinge on it as just a regular old opening in your floor, especially if you have like a ladder like here going down. It works really well to just use this, but typically hasn't been something I've done. And what do you know? Little pile of gold here for no reason. We're just keeping our gold everywhere. Technically, I built that wrong. But a little pile of gold. Me pile of gold. All right. And where are we next? We've got some black wall. And then some gray. So I'm not really a huge fan of black being the main color of a castle build. Though there have been some very classic castle designs that have used that. I don't know. I guess I just kind of don't see a lot of stone that's really that color. And I understand, fantasy, whatever else. I built a fantasy castle that was pretty much all black before as a mock. Black, of course, is a lot harder to photograph than most other colors. So yeah, I don't tend to use it a ton as my top color for mock purposes, but I don't mind it. It's just not my favorite. Nothing wrong with it. It's just not my favorite. And when I did do the Black Castle, which was more of a big tower, it was called the Obsidian Spike. When I did design that, when I had to take pictures of it, there's a lot of glare that comes off of black brick in particular. So what I used to do before I kind of had a more, I wouldn't say professional, but a more appropriate lighting setup is I would tend to take pictures of whatever I built outside. So kind of try to get the natural sunlight to be the main source of lighting. And the big issue I would always have with that is I would take pictures against my house, and the house itself is white, so it's a good contrast to a black tower, but my siding is stucco, so there was always all kinds of little bumps and textures in there. Made it harder to edit the photos to get the background clean. And what I found when I was trying to take pictures of this black tower was that everything was either washed out or had a lot of reflection on it. How I ended up fixing that is I positioned a bunch of white poster board on chairs and ladders around the build, and then the black reflective nature of the brick picked up the white. So when I finally took the pictures of it, I didn't get a lot of glare, and there was good definition for things that I had in there for details and texture. So a little tip, if you're trying to photograph something black and Lego and doesn't seem like your camera's picking it up, try surrounding it with white objects to pick up the reflection. Big white sheets, and hopefully that will help solve some of that problem, and you'll be able to take a picture. Black, of course, is a great color to the extent that there are a lot of pieces, large variety of pieces in black. So that's always very helpful. Uh-oh. That fell down. All right, so we're working on our main tower here. Again, I gotta remember to not call it the Wolfpack Tower. Outlaw Forest Den Tower. Obvi. Hopefully we'll have this done here pretty soon. I've only got probably, 4 bags left? 1, 2, 3, yep. 4 bags left after this one. So be able to finish this off today quite easily. And then I will be able to reclaim my build space, get a little work done, probably after my daughter's birthday party today, so that we are ready to go Sunday for Think Outside the Blocks, which is our main show, of course, on this channel here. Play another song here in a minute when I'm done with this bag, so we can reset. I think we're going to go Orange Spaceships. It doesn't make a lot of sense on the day when we're building a castle, but we didn't play it last stream, so I think we'll get Orange Spaceships in today. Orange Spaceships, of course, being the only color spaceship anyone should ever build. Some people might disagree, but if you're building a spaceship, why can't it be orange? That's what I like to say. Looks like we are building a couple of windows in our tower here. So we're kind of setting ourselves up to add a couple of windows in the next bag. It looks like, with the way this is structured here. Oh, interesting. So the last one, the little overhang pieces on the bottom of the brick were dark bluish gray. This time they're light bluish gray. So a little variety as we move up the tower. So I'm guessing this will go on here. They didn't tell me to put that there yet, but based on the other one, I'm guessing that's what I'm eventually going to end up doing anyway. All right. A little bit of greenery here. A little bit of moss or something growing up on our tower. So, a little bit there. I will say the color scheme, though very true to Wolfpack, it's not bad. I kind of think this kind of looks like broken plaster or something. So maybe the black is some version of plaster. I don't know. Or paint. Not sure. Don't know how often you'd paint a castle. Usually I would just assume the color came from being whatever color material you were using. But what do I know? So, all right. We're still moving along here nicely. And then we're adding ourselves, adding a ladder to go up another level right on here. All right, this goes over one. There we go. Now we got our ladder. So you can climb up, walk around, and take the second little step up to the next level in the tower. All right, and here it is, the big moment. We're adding one of the large Wolfpack features here, which is a large flag sticker. And I believe it requires a sticker on the front side and a sticker on the back side. So here is our sticker sheet. This is what you paid for, right? This is the price tag was all to get yourselves some Wolfpack stickers. I am I use the brick separator sticker kind of guy. So that's usually what I do. I get the sticker on the brick separator. Try to line it up here. And where are we going to line this up? I guess we'll try to line it up towards the bottom. Left and right. Looks pretty good. Kind of got a little bit of a shine to it here. It's like a semi-metallic-y looking red color. Try not to get too many bubbles in there. Turned out pretty well. Looks like I got one little air bubble in there, but not too bad. So there's our sticker. Now they want you to put the sticker on both the front and the back. I'm not going to do that. Why am I not going to do that? Because if I don't do that, I got a free sticker. I can use that for my own mocks. You're not going to be able to see the back side of the banner anyway. So there we go. That's all I'm doing. Also less chance of screwing it up, right? So I don't know why they thought you needed it on both sides, because that's not what I'm doing. Same thing. There's going to be a red Wolfpack shield flag later too. Same thing. I'm not putting it on both sides. Free sticker, baby. Free sticker. All right. So there was going to be another brown window silly part. Just like I suspected. Unfortunately, I put the brown one on there in anticipation. It's actually dark brown. So fail on my part. All right. We're adding a little bit more to this tower. It looks to me like the back side of my tower here is going to be this piece. Right? It's going to go here. And then it'll probably have some sort of attachment so you can pull this off so you can see inside. And it's going to have this big old map piece up on there. I don't know what the map is supposed to symbolize. Taking a look at it, I'm trying to see if they look like recognizable castle structures from other Lego themes. And this one definitely looks like the Lion Knight's castle over here, the most recent one. So there's probably several that have some sort of resemblance to other Lego sets. Like this kind of looks like the Guarded Inn down here. So might be some Easter egg that people could take a little look at and see if they can recognize some of the various sets in there. Lion Knight's castle just seemed like the most obvious one on there in terms of profile. So yeah, I would imagine that there are several others. There's probably someone that can name them all, but not me. Not me. Even though I am admittedly a castle guy. And I was completely incorrect. This part's not going to go on the back. It's going to go on the side over here. But it is going to have that big old map on it. Almost predictably so. So, again, it's very hard to get the brick separator down in there. But I'm going to use it to try to align. Let's try to align the bottom. In this case, and side to side. Hard to get it like right in the middle with the way this is shaped. Look at that. We're definitely more to one side than the other here. So as long as this isn't down all the way, we can peel it up. As soon as you peel it up, get it down all the way though, sort of all hope is lost on getting it back up without wrinkling the corner. That's too thick. So we're going to use this little X-Acto blade that I have instead. I know this is silly. Why do I even care? It's on an interior. No one's ever going to see it. But for whatever reason, I do. Okay. Take a second shot at this. This time without the brick separator. Mostly struggling with this left to right because, your eyes can only be on one side. My finger's in the way on the other. That's too high up. This is why some people hate stickers, right? I don't hate stickers because, here I kind of got a bonus. I got an extra large Wolfpack flag out of the deal since I only put the sticker on one side. So, all right. We settled on it. I committed. Turned out it didn't look too bad. So, taking a look at it now to see if I can make a clear picture. Yeah, so I think this one here is supposed to be the medieval town square. And then that one's definitely the Lion Knight's castle. So you guys can take a look at those and see if you can identify any other ones. There's a Kraken out here in the water. Lego hasn't made a Kraken yet. So who knows?
That's now on the build and moving on. That was step 907, by the way. So I don't know if we're like intentionally trying to see if we can like end right on 1,000 steps or something. I'm not sure. But that's the end of this bag. And here we have it, beginning of our tower, including the big wolf pack sigil on the flag there. All right, we're going to play a song while I bust into the next bag, mostly because I also have to sneeze. And you guys don't need to hear me doing that. I promised orange spaceships, so that's what we're going to play. Here we go.
Daddy Ben, oh, he loves his space. Lego ships in orange, all in place. But Mara's ties, they're all the same. And why that beard? It's just a shame. Orange ships, computers galore. Mara dreams of something more. In Legoland, where dreams take flight. Orange or not, they'll get it right. Daddy, your ships are lame. All of them look the same. And your beard, such a disgrace. Maybe just one short hair on your face.
I spend too much time working on them.
And sometimes you just don't do them. Because you want,
Yeah.
And your beard.
And my beard.
And your mustache.
I'll get back in the photo so everyone can see.
Ugh.
Alright.
It should be more like one of those French ones that is in the movies, like squirrels.
Like a little villain mustache?
Yes, you need that.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mara. Thanks for the rant.
Or you just need
Good
one
job.
little hair.
It takes too long for you to build them. Focus, get it done, concentrate, Daddy Ben. One more word about your beard. Come on, Daddy, it's so weird.
And they don't have different size ranges, which they should. And they they all have computers in them. Like, it's disgusting.
Orange spaceships, make it end. Listen, friend, it's not a trend. Orange beard, that's the trend. Make it happen. I love you, Daddy Ben. I love you, Daddy Ben.
All right. Thank you, of course, to Taylor Swift for singing that song for us. But that's celebrating orange spaceships and the rant queen who just turned 10 herself, giving us a little rant about daddy's stupid orange spaceships. Let's see. Thomas Cleveland says, bro's definitely not sneezing. How would you know? I certainly was sneezing. I wasn't sneezing during that during the video in that song, but I was definitely sneezing while it wasn't playing. All right. So what do we got next? We're gonna do, looks like kind of a pretty typical little sub build for the various windows. Very similar in design to the one on the back that we already did. It uses these, we like to call them the bread loaf piece, this piece, the bread loaf. Bread loaf combined with a 1x2 to give us a sort of curved window shape to go along with our windows. And we'll throw some arches over top of it, and we'll move on to our next little window. I did during the song after I sneezed, put on the flag on my wolf pack sticker there. Can't see it there at all. It's all glared. But there it is. And of course, I'm only putting it on one side. I'm not going to waste it. I'm not going to waste that perfectly good wolf pack flag. So we'll end up on both of them. Emily wants the bathroom song again. We'll see. We already played it. And you were just messing with me. Yeah, I was very messed with. It was offensive. I cried internally, thinking that you thought I was a liar. All right.
So there we go. We've got ourselves a little top there. And we're moving on. Anything else in the chat anyone want to talk about? Birthdays, the Olympics, Lego, anything. Otherwise, I'll just keep making stuff up. It's what I do. It's what I do. All right, we got ourselves a little bit of a tiny roof over each of the windows, it looks like. So we'll do this one first. Did them in the wrong order, but that's fine. So we got this one, then we got that one. Reddish brown. Now the question is this the new reddish brown formula or the old one, right? So in theory, according to Lego, if we can believe them, they've adjusted their formula of reddish brown so that it's no longer so brittle. And I know the first time I saw that color was on the Cullen House, I think it's Cullen, the Twilights series. And so it kind of looked like milky, almost like a slightly different color. But I didn't really notice that here. So I don't know if it's old reddish brown or new reddish brown or what. No idea. So it's a mystery for the ages. Let's see. Emily says, I might be getting 2 new Switch games soon. What you got your eyes on, Emily? I do have a Switch 1. I do have the original, and I bought it solely to play Metroid. And now they have a first-person Metroid game coming out as opposed to the Metroidvania style. But that, I don't know, that doesn't really excite me. I like the Metroid games that are like Metroid, you know? So yeah, now my son has sort of taken over that Switch. So it's not like it went to waste. He still plays it occasionally. But really, I just got it for Metroid. And Super Smash Brothers to some extent, too. Or Smash Brothers Extreme or Ultimate Smash Bros. I don't even know which version it is. All I know is that there's some bros and they smash. That's all I know. Let's see here. Instant Sports can't type today, sorry. Well, I don't know what the first one was. Just and Instant Sports. There was something and Instant Sports. So we don't know what the first one was. I guess it's a mystery. So Emily is getting something. Thomas Cleveland says, I'm not a big Lego person. I have no idea how the algorithm brought me here. I do like Nintendo Switch, though. Mario Kart is my jam. Mario Tennis Fever is the other one. Yeah, so the reason you may have been fed the algorithm to come here, Mr. Cleveland, is that on our particular channel, we kind of do 2 things. We do Lego. That's the main thing. Brick World, which is our brand. The owner of the company, Brick World, which is a Lego public display event convention. Is the kind of the owner of this channel. The other thing, though, that he really loves is Animal Crossing. So because he loves Animal Crossing, he does a weekly stream on our Brick World channel about Animal Crossing. So sometimes Nintendo people get fed from the algorithm to come to this Lego channel. So what are we building here? We've mentioned it several times. But Lego recently purchased, I'd say recently, within the last few years, a company called Bricklink. Bricklink is essentially a marketplace where adults or kids for that matter, but adults can sell individual and buy individual Lego elements. As you can tell, there are a lot of different Lego elements. and you might need, 3 or 4 specific elements for a build you're doing, and you don't want to buy, 15 Lego sets to accomplish getting those elements. So you can hop on Bricklink and you can buy them. Well, a few years ago, Lego bought the company Bricklink, and now they kind of own both the primary and secondary market. So there's nothing stopping other companies from, of course, creating a similar marketplace. One of the other things Bricklink is doing is they created something called the Bricklink Designer Program, where fans of Lego could come up with their own designs, and through a voting process and a review process, could potentially have their creation converted into a set. There's a limited number of them sold, so they are relatively exclusive. You have to know. You have to know what. You have to know that they're coming out and sort of know the deadline in order to purchase them on time. But after you order them, they're sort of crowdfunded, and you have to wait a few months for them to finally be produced. Several months, as a matter of fact. And so this is in the, I believe, 7th series of Bricklink Designer Program builds here. And one of the things about it, there's no paper instructions. They're all digital. So that's the other thing that you have to deal with. So I'm building everything off the computer screen over here because I don't have any paper in front of me. Let's see here. Interesting. My main interest as of late is electrical engineering, Nikola Tesla, free energy, and all that nonsense. Never played Animal Crossing. I've also gotten into 3D printing lately. There you go. Maybe there's an algorithmic link to 3D printing. Well, one of the things on our stream, this isn't exactly electrical engineering, but we do show our own creations. And one of the creations that I sometimes show, or one of the types of builds that I do, is I oftentimes build, oftentimes is a stretch. I built a couple of Lego mocks, as they call them, my own creation. That's what mock stands for. Built several Lego mocks that are actually computer cases. And then we've built a custom computer inside the mock as well. So I've got a space base, actually 2 space bases and a spaceship that have computers built into them. Not exactly electrical engineering, but we do occasionally dabble in that area of nerddom as well. So yeah, we're just generally nerds in a lot of senses. I do occasionally also, my son is into 3D printing, but of course, as a nerd, the only thing I tend to 3D print are Star Wars lightsabers. I don't know why, but that's always what I end up making. So we've shown a couple of the lightsabers I've built on the stream too. They're, mostly just display pieces, but they are fun. My son hasn't printed anything in a while. For a while, he was printing stuff like every day, little knickknacks and fidget toys and all that stuff. So it is a very cool space. Lego has gotten into a little bit of 3D printing. They've in fact printed a few elements with some version of 3D printing as opposed to what they usually do, which is injection molding. So it's always a big deal when they try something like that. The last time they did it, everyone felt it was very gimmicky. They made like a little 3D printed train that when you moved it along the ground, like it had a little smokestack that lifted and fell. But it was kind of controversial actually that they were doing that, because it kind of felt like it was silly. Let's see here. Alternate candidate. I'm a big Lego fan, and Thomas, you basically just listed a huge part of what I consume. Definitely a crossover in interests. All right. So alternate candidate, who we also call Ralph Nader, thinks maybe the algorithm believes these two are linked. I like printing D&D minis. I pay a friendly version with my kids. All right. So there is a Lego and D&D crossover as well. One of the things is they produced the Red Dragon set, the D&D set, 2 years ago now. a couple years ago, last year maybe, sometime last year. Anyway, Red Dragon Tail, maybe it was called. I don't remember, but they produced a Lego D&D set as well as a game that went along with it. One of our frequent contributors in terms of being in the chat and talking, actually a couple of people, are from a show called Friday Night Bricks, where they do a live stream on Fridays where they just kind of hang out and build. The Friday Night Bricks crew, though, also heads over every other week to another stream, Jesse's Brick Galaxy. So Jesse was in the stream earlier today. And when they get over to Jesse's Brick Galaxy, they play D&D with Lego. They live stream it. Actually, lately they've been playing Daggerheart, so a slightly different version. I myself don't play, but I like to listen in and troll them in the chat a little. So Jesse says, yeah, Friday Night Bricks with the eyes there. And of course, Jesse's Brick Galaxy being where they play. And the name of the show is Critical Bricks. So, you get a critical hit in D&D when you roll like a natural 20. So a little play on that for Critical Bricks. So we started a new level 1 D&D game. When did you start that, Jesse? I didn't think that you were going to do D&D last night because you did Daggerheart the week before. But maybe you did. So different rules depending on whether you're playing Daggerheart or D&D. A little different flavoring, but both kind of the same idea with the fun role-playing game. And like I said, when I'm there, it's merely just to troll everybody and have fun. But they let me do it. They don't mind. I don't mind a little nonsense every now and then. Supposed to have a black 1x2 plate that I don't see here. So perhaps I put on a black one where I was supposed to have a light gray one or something. Don't know. I think we are 2 sessions in, he said it. Okay. So I don't know what happened to this 1x2 plate. I guess it's not going to derail me too much because I have a gray one here, right? So that makes me think that somewhere there's supposed to be a gray one where I put a black one. I found it. Actually, that wasn't too bad. It's right here over the top of this cross-style window. And this cross-style window, actually, that they used here, I use this all the time in my own personal builds. Exact same technique. Doesn't mean they stole it from me because I probably stole it from someone else. But it's just a technique I very much recognize as one that I use all the time. All right. Got our Wolfpack flag up on there now. There we go. So, making some progress on our tower. Lego's got a lot of crossover with a lot of other things. I think, it's a creative outlet for just about anybody. So, you can be an adult fan like a lot of us are now. You can be a kid and still love it. There's a lot of appeal. And Lego's sort of finally starting to embrace some of their adult fans a little more than they did back in the day. So it's always been nice to feel like they care about us at least a little bit. And most of what they do, I think, to show us they care is release direct-to-consumer sets. So things that, like the D&D set, that are more meant for adult collectors and adult builders. All right, leftovers. We got cheese slopes, flame, 1x1s, all of one color. Looks like that's all good, so I didn't miss anything. So here's the tower so far. It's a little haphazard, quite honestly. But I think it'll look nice when it finally goes up on the build. So how many bags left? Looks like 3. So I think I have... we've got our last Wolfpack figure in this next bag. And then I've got a probably black tower top in bag 28. And then bag 29 appears to be the tree that goes over on this side of the build. So we're getting close. We're almost there. All right. So what is our figure going to look like here? Looks like this one is going to be wearing some sort of fur collar. So maybe a leader of some variety with a fancy fur collar. I don't know. And I see 2 fur collars here, and that usually means that one of the fur collars is going to be used as a nest for a little bluebird. So we do have a little bluebird here. That's not always for a bluebird, but a nest for a bird. All right, so here we're going to build our wolf pack. Yeah, he kind of looks like a leader. He's kind of very distinguished looking. Dual molded legs again. The black in the middle and the brown boots on the bottom. He does have some nice mutton chops, this guy. And he's got himself a little wolf pack axe that we got to build, as well as a shield. Good number of shields in the set. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So a decent number of wolf pack shields here as well, which I appreciate because that's, heraldry is important in Lego. But there we go. Here is our 8th and final wolf packy guy. He appears to be the leader. Maybe I'm just making a supposition there because he's got the fur collar. But he kind of looks old and distinguished, like maybe he'd be in charge. So I don't know. Do have an even older wolf pack gentleman back here with a beard, but he doesn't have a collar. So how could he be the leader? I don't know. All right, got a little bit of accoutrement here to go around the top. And then it looks like we're going to be building a trapdoor for the top of the tower here in a second. I shouldn't say trapdoor, but a lifting door to go on top of the tower here. So we'll get that on. And we'll slap this up on here too. Supposed to make 4 of these. A little bit of repetition when you only have to build 4 and it's only, 5 pieces to build. It's not so bad. 2, 3. No, we're not following the instructions right now. We know what we're doing, right? And 4. Again, I threw this out there. I didn't really get a response. Maybe I will in the comments later. I think this set is prime for taking like a brick stuff medieval lighting kit and adding lights to it. So would that be something people would be interested in seeing done live? So you can kind of see how to work with them and maybe some of the thought process we have to adjust to get lighting in this. I can already tell looking at this that I would have to replace a few parts here and there to get it lit well. But I do think it would be something that people would find fun. So let me know. Let me know. When I first started doing castle, like lighting, I didn't really think was an important aspect. But lately, pretty much all the builds I've done, part of it, of course, is because at Brick World, we do World of Lights, where Saturday night, we turn the lights down and you can see all of the lights and lighting that people have worked on in their builds. But also just because I think it adds an extra bit of warmth anytime you're doing a build. So I've kind of tended to now do lighting on everything, whether it be a castle or a spaceship or whatever. And it might be something that people find fun. So Illinois Central Brick says lighting this would be cool to see. Yeah, I think so. In particular, I think lighting inside the cave would be a nice little touch and kind of add something to this. So might get ourselves some brick stuff, a brick stuff kit, and go from there. There's quite a few torches on this build as well, I will say. So that kind of lends itself to a lighting kit. They have both regular lights as well as pre-made torches that could work and fit into this. And you kind of have your own little build list, I guess, of stuff that you'd go and get if you wanted to light it yourself. Wouldn't be too long a list, I don't think. Looks like we are going to end up with a little bird nest up here on top. I already tell here we've got some little bits of straw and hay, or hay-like colors and pieces to do this. All right. Not a big fan of how they chose, or the lantern color they chose with this bright orange color for the inside of the lanterns. More of a yellow inside lantern kind of guy. I don't know. They also are cones as opposed to round 1x1s. The Bricklink also has a limit on the pieces they can use. They have to be what's available on the pick a brick wall, or not pick a brick wall, in the pick and build at the time. And it's entirely possible that the 1x1 round piece in trans yellow, for example, just isn't available. And this orange was the best they could do, or maybe they prefer it. No idea. But either way, it's not the one I would have gone with. All right, so we got our lantern up top there. We've got some hay or whatever, some parts that look like it would work well for a bird nest, or maybe they're using it to light their lanterns. I'm not sure. We're working on our top here. Looks like we got some of these nice pentagon tile things that we'll probably use up top here to help shape some version of ramparts or crenellations on the very top of the build here. All right. And down. Looks like I've also got parts here to make another one of these spear pikes. So I must go somewhere, possibly with this flag. I don't know, just sort of making it up here. But perhaps this is going to go on the build somewhere. Just kind of noticed that I have one little rogue flag here, and nothing to go along with it, except the spear there. So, I could look forward in the instructions or look at the box, but I don't specifically recall. So, we'll just make the assumption that that's what it is. I don't know. All right, we're adding our little crenellations around the top here. Looks like we also adding tilation. Just adding tiles here. Looks like we've got ourselves a clip. So we're definitely going to be clipping in our flagpole there. If this is supposed to be it, I don't know. Maybe it's not even supposed to have the accent on there. We'll find out in a minute when we get to it. But that's where I was going with this. All right. We're continuing to build what I assume will eventually be the nest for our bird here as well. It's like a fire hazard, quite honestly, more so than anything else. Hey, and what do you know? There it is. Bird nest. And a birdie. Tweet, tweet. Little bright blue birdie. Very cute. All right. I don't know. You have to say birdie and then you have to tweet. That's like a requirement, I guess. Interestingly, I appear to be missing something. And it's possible that I messed up. So I'm rotating the tower here to see. I don't see anything obvious. I'm supposed to have another one of these 1x2 bricks, I think, with ye old studs on them. I don't see where I messed up. So we'll find that out here in a minute. All right, continuing on. All right, so we've got ourselves some more little bricks here. Regular 1x2. This one, you know what? I bet it's right here. 100%. I don't see where I missed it. It's because you weren't paying attention, dude. All right, there we go. Fixed it. It was a pair of headlight bricks that attached that brick in there, I think. Not going to go back and look. Let's just assume that's what I did wrong. And we'll move on. This is the problem when you do, as Vince calls it, spot the difference building. You don't really follow the little piece callouts. That's totally me. I don't really pay attention to the piece callouts. Potentially a mistake, as you just saw. Make little mistakes like I did there. Be confused as to where a part goes. But just gives you an opportunity to enjoy the build a little longer where you have to figure out where you messed up. There we go. All right. So it looks like I thought the next 2 bags might be dedicated to building the top of the tower here, but we're already over the top of the tower. The top of the tower is already done. So we'll be able to put this on. I also do have, looks like what we're missing here is the back. So that's what's in the next bag. It's the back of the tower there. Do you have an extra 1x2? Uh-oh. What did we mess up? Part's not super critical, I don't think, based on everything we've designed here. But yeah, this is supposed to go like this. So we got that part right. And now we got to figure out where I missed the 1x2. It's like a game. How did Ben mess up? Where did he skip the 1x2? And if I was guessing, I would guess that it is underneath. Yep, underneath the bird over here, and it is. So wasn't a terribly bad miss. There we go. Build enough Lego, you kind of get an idea of where you probably missed it. All right, so this next part looks like it's going to build the little back area here. I'm guessing there'll be another window. I'll be able to peel that off so you can see inside the tower. It's not super exciting inside the tower, but a couple ladders. It's got a torch in there. A couple windows. It's got the map. It's got a little bit of gold hidden down in there. So we can slap this up on the tower while we build the backside. No problem. So there it is. So there we can see it up on there. Pull it in a little bit so we can get it up, get the whole thing in the screen. There it is. Not quite done yet. We still have to build our tree in the backside of the tower. So we'll work on that. I think that like the images from Bricklink tended to show it kind of at this angle here. So you could get both the entrance and the collis on the tower. So I think that's the entrance they like. Just been sticking the figures on. They're not really in the right place. Like our archer's probably hanging out on top of the tower here. And we got a guy who's kind of like a blacksmith. They don't really have an anvil or an area for the blacksmith. I'm going to assume he's hanging out somewhere inside the tower. Swing that open. Maybe he's back here, sort of looking over the armory in the rear of the tower here. And we've got this girl. She's got her daggers. So she's probably on the hunt, sneaking around. We've got a couple of actual wolves too that came with the set. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna slip a wolf in here for the underside. She's hunting with her wolves, I guess. And the wolf is leading her. She'll be sneaking out the side over here. Down through the middle. A little hard to get in there. There's enough room and studs to pose a figure in there. And then we'll figure out where we're going to put our other guys here when we finish our tree. The Wolfpack leader is going to be standing top of the bridge here, top of the entrance. Like, who goes there? And this messenger bag guy will be standing front of the portcullis. We got to have some people doing some stuff inside the building. We still have the old man guy, too. Let's find a spot for him. Maybe he's feeling a little tired after a long life working as a Wolfpack rogue. So he's going to be sitting down here. He's going to be sitting next to the chair, not on the chair, because the chair is a flat tile. And this girl's going to be heading up into the tower. I guess where I could have put the old man is over here by the bed, but again, there's not like a good place to have him sit down. And then we've got one more Wolfpack person here with a spear. Maybe she'll be inside here, walking down the stairs. She's heading back downstairs. They just had an important meeting, and actually we'll move crossbowy person up inside here. She's getting ready to maybe look out one of the windows here and shoot a crossbow. So that's what we got going. Still not done. Still got 2 bags to go. Now we've posed our Wolfpack people inside our tower here. All right, so let's get to these last 2 bags. We've got backside of wall that's open right now, and then we've got tree. Those are our 2 bits. I don't know if we're gonna have 1 tree or 2 tree bits here. Looking at the build, looks like maybe it's just 1. I don't know, maybe there's a little bit here. There's a spot up here that's a prime for a tree as well as down here. So we might get some little foliage here and then a bigger tree down here. But we'll see. We're not there yet. So this is bag 28 of 29. It is a back wall for sure that we're going to put on our tower. So here we go. All right. First parts first. First steps first. We're building ourselves a little grip here to be able to potentially pull this wall off. We need to get inside. So that's where we're starting. Dark bluish gray to start. A little bit of black. Something to grip to pull it on and off. Move our camera down a little so we can see what we're building. And we'll get moving. All right. Looks like now we're going to go over the top. A couple of these bits. And this back wall looks like there's no window or anything, so it's not going to be super exciting. So while I'm snapping a few of these parts together, we'll play a song. Everybody loves a song. And we're going to play one of our top bangers. This is probably my favorite of all of our songs. This one is all about how LEGO Lifestyle Shots are hilarious in the fact that they use a lot of silly tropes when they're providing their shots. So we like to call all the extra little bits that they put everywhere accoutrement. So here we go.
This is the style you aspire to. It's flawless, expensive, and new. No 2 chairs are matching, and the fig tree is dying. Look, there are little balls on the shelf. I just made you say balls. Accoutrement in the bowl. Accoutrement. Blank canvas on the wall. Blank canvas. Tripping hazard on the stairs. The stairs are a shelf. Lifestyle shots with our ladder to nowhere. Yeah! We've got the antique stapler next to a meaningless roll of twine. We found grandma's urn surrounded by books with no spine. The photoshopped iPad is on a step, and dad's old ashtray looks just fine. Accoutrement in the bowl. Accoutrement. Blank canvas on the wall. Blank canvas. Tripping hazard on the stairs. The stairs are a shelf. Lifestyle shots with our ladder to nowhere. Yeah!
All right, that was accoutrement. One of our favorites. looking as I'm moving this, we are going to have one of these cross-shaped windows. And because of the way they built the other one, this is going to be the outside of the wall. This is going to be the inside. So I'm guessing we're essentially building bumpers here on the inside with this part, so that when you put it in, it doesn't fall inside. There's something to stop it from going. Hopefully there's still going to be some sort of tab or something to pull the wall out. I really don't like it if you don't include one of those, because then you're trying extra hard to get the thing to sit up against the wall nicely. It's hard to pull it off when you have old man hands. You don't have children's size fingers or you don't have a lot of fingernails to get in there to pull stuff off. All right, still working on building the back wall here. A lot more pieces than I would have suspected for a back wall. But a lot of this seems to be based on the fact that we are including these bumpers to keep the wall from falling in. So after this, we've got some trees. That'll be our last little bits of foliage, and then we will be done with the tower, and we can take a look at it. We might schedule another live build or demonstration to light this thing later. I guess before we... Another quick song, Z-Spouse asked. That means she probably needs to talk. So let me play a song, and she's probably going to tell me about the day. Let's see here. We'll go... she says quick song, but I know that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be super quick. So here's a 3-minute song, Into the Void. We just did lifestyle accoutrement. Sometimes Lego skips all the accoutrement, and all they do is a blank hellscape, as we like to say. Into the Void. Here we go.
Something that's within your view. The set is so spectacular. Behold, it's brand new. The lights are set. The camera is ready. Every angle checked. There's only one thing left to do. Throw it into the void. A monochromatic hellscape. Into the void. Zoomed out into nothing. I don't know how this thing will sail when there's nothing left to see, but I know the void is in me. The toy is made for children. Let's get some of those. Holding them hostage. Trapped within this lifeless space. Give them a table. Or they can play on their leg. Nothingness around, perfect shapes on hapless ground. Throw it into the void.
into the void. I was correct. My spouse needed to talk to me about planning for what we're doing during the birthday party today. And how nice of it was her to suggest that we play another song so she didn't interrupt the stream. A really good spouse that I have there really knows how to work that in there. All right, we do have the back of the wall built. It does have a little grab spot so you can pull the wall on and off pretty easily. So, and then the bumpers, looks like we've got a couple of spots inside here where they have little logs that are going to act as the spot for the bumper to hit. So good design choice there. Fits in there nicely, nice and secure. It's not going to fall in. Pulls out pretty easily. Looks nice and even. Does have a window on it. So there we go. So we're done with the tower. Now we're just on to the trees. So let's take a look at that. We do have one wolf that I never positioned anywhere. So maybe this wolf's, I don't know, running around. Maybe he doesn't go on the build. Maybe he's chasing the cart with our lion knights, who are probably going to get ambushed if they're coming by here. I don't know. I did yesterday complain about, and I'm still going to complain about, this horse not really sitting completely flat. Like, I don't know. Seems like he's off by like half a plate somehow. So he like falls over easily. But whatever. Okay, here we go. We're moving on to the little tree foliage here in bag 29. This will wrap up our build. And we can, for a moment, I suppose, take a look at a Wolfpack build I've got up here on the hexagons. Actually have a few Wolfpack builds. But we'll take a look at one that I have with a little bit of lighting. It's very, very minimal. It might get you some idea on how lighting adds to the build. I've also got the blacksmith, Lion Knight's blacksmith over here, which has some lighting in it. So we can take a look at that too. That might give you some idea on if you are in fact interested in a future stream where we try to add a little bit of lighting to our Wolfpack, to our Outlaw Forest Den, aka Wolfpack Tower V2. At least that's what I'm going to call it. No, it's not its official name, but that's really what it is to me. All right, so here we are working on a tree. Lego's been, they have the whole botanical line now, so they've been coming up with a lot of new ways to build trees. I particularly like the one they put in the Lovebird set. If you've watched the stream at all, you'll know I'm not joking. I do, in fact, love the Lego Lovebird set. I think it's extremely beautiful. It's well designed. I like the way the trees look on that. So one of the top sets of the year, I think, so far. And again, not even joking. Really like it. And that one was a winner of a contest, a Valentine's Day contest. I think the original design, before it was touched by the Lego designers, was okay. Wasn't necessarily one that I was super excited about, but I think that the final version was really good. Really like it. All right, now I'm struggling a little bit. And the reason I'm struggling a little bit is we have both light green and dark green leaves here, as well as forest green. Lego has different names for this, but I guess I call these dark green, green, and light green. Lego has some other silly names for these, like earth green, dark green, and bright green. I can't really tell from the instructions, since we have all the different colors of leaves, which ones they're intending me to use here. I think that they might be the regular green, the middle green color on this part, but I can't tell. Looks also like, based on what I see here, we're building 3 little trees. So one's going to go up here. There's another one that's going to go on another spot. One's going to go up here. One's going to go down here. And we'll have another one too. So there's a couple of different places where we're going to add trees in this build here. Maybe 4 trees even. So I don't know. Looks like we're going to go with this regular green color. I don't know. So hard to tell. Whatever. Moving forward. Pet peeve, personal problem, probably doesn't really matter. Ultimately, they'll look like trees. Here we go. So 1, 2. The void is in me. Dark green. Regular green. Dark green again. There we go. I guess. I don't know. I'm guessing this one's going to go over here in the front. It's the biggest of the trees. And then I see we've got a couple other spots where we have these spots. They're 2x2 bricks with an axle hole through the middle. So it's a Technic piece. And that is a primary place to put on these little trees that they're making, since they're connecting everything via this little axle hole. And there's several of these placed throughout the build. So there's one down here, there's one up here, and I think there are 2 on the back side here. So we're going to end up, I think, building 4 little trees to finish off the design here. All right. So I'm guessing this one's eventually going to go on here. It's got a little lantern, all that stuff. The thing pushes out, so it might even sit at an angle. I don't know. We'll find out when we get a little further along. I just want to put it there right now for the moment so that it's out of the way. Squirrel. Gotta add a squirrel. Why not? And they want you to add another dino tail here. And then I'm sure they'll want me to add another tree branch. This time I think it's the lighter green. But again, who can tell? Who can tell? But this is what we're going with here. And I think it's the lighter green leaves on this part. Just making it up as we go along at this point because it's super hard to tell. So that one's on there. Could be I can't even blame it on printing problems, right? Because it's not printed. It's all just in the digital instructions. So I don't know. I don't know what color's right. I don't know what color's wrong. All right. And we have another branch up at the top here. What color is it? I don't know. We're going to go dark green or regular green this time. No idea. Apple. It's an apple tree, apparently. Whatever. It's fine with me. But this goes on the very edge, top of the tree. And then there's a little cap. Top of the tree. And then one more branch. I knew there was going to be another branch. And it's going off to the side like this. I will say these trees are kind of annoying. I think they will finish off the build. But they are a little finicky. So I don't know what to say about that. Elgoff's in the house now. Hi, El. Just finishing off the build that we started last time in Wolfpack Den. I am kind of frustrated here at the end with the coloration of the instructions, because I can't tell what colors these various leaves are intended to be. I don't think it'll ultimately matter. They're not so different in some sense that I'm going to feel ashamed and embarrassed if it doesn't quite match the instructions. But at the same time, it is kind of annoying to me. Okay, so it looks like this is indeed where they're intending this tree to go. So we have it on there. It does angle back a little bit. So I'm going to tip it back a little so it's not hanging over the front of my build so much. It's on a hinge for a reason, I guess. maybe just for play access, and they intend you normally leave it down like this. I don't know. But there it is. So we got one tree on, and I will move on to our other 3 little trees. Here's the first one. Tiniest tree ever that's going to go up here. We'll get in a little closer here. Maybe a little farther away. I don't know. This time I'm not going to have so much trouble discerning the colors because it's using the small leaves, and these leaves only really come in the regular green. They don't really show up in the other shade of green. So in the bright green, I guess. I think that's what it's called even in Lego parlance, is bright green. There's also like a springish yellow green. I got another number of odd color choices on here. So here we go. And we got this guy on here. Here we are. So a little tiny tree branch. So cute. Tiny cute guy. Look at him. He's so adorable. And he's gonna go up there. So side of our tower here. Let's see here. Al said, glad you didn't do it last night. I had a small show with our club at a library after dark party. Got home after 11 and was tired and in pain. Yeah. Well, Al, I last night was at the Sweethearts dance with my daughter. So kind of a parent-child dance. So I don't know that I would say I was in pain per se. Maybe a little bit on my back because I'm an old man. But I was sweaty. It is hard to keep up with a 10-year-old while she's off dancing on the floor. She's got many more moves than me and a much younger back. So I had my own version of that. Wasn't nearly what you were probably experiencing following your car accident or your motorcycle accident, but certainly was not like really looking forward to building last night. After that, I was ready to just relax and chill and get ready for today, which includes a birthday party for my daughter. So it's really been a Mara heavy weekend with the Sweethearts dance yesterday and then her birthday party today. And she's having a sleepover with one of her friends afterward because her parents needed us to watch her. They've got another engagement going on. So works out pretty well that all that stuff is all piled into one weekend. But of course, I still have to get some work done for the show at some point. Our normal Think Outside the Block show. I could try to slough it off to Mark, but I have no idea if he'll have time. So usually I'm the one who comes up with the run of show and does at least one silliness segment. I know Mark, in theory, told me last week he was working on a silliness segment. So I'm excited to see what he's coming up with because he seems excited for it. But I haven't actually experienced or have any idea what his silliness segment is going to be. Al says, kids will do that to you. Been there and done that. Yes, indeed. But of course you do it for them because you love them. Did you get my email? Oh yes, Al, you were sending me an email. I have not checked. Only because I was incredibly busy with the Sweetheart dance and all that stuff. I do have email on my phone though, so let me check that after I'm done with this next tree limb. Because I know you said you were sending me the greatest idea ever. So I am ready to hear about that. Yeah, after the stream, we went a little longer than I was anticipating on the stream on Thursday. So I had to get to bed. I had to work the next day, of course. Don't we all? Don't we all? Well, not all of us, but many of us do. And never checked my email. I used to be able, I was one of those guys who would check my email every day. I'd clear everything out of my inbox so I didn't have anything out there lingering. Like that was the way to reach me. You know, I was gonna find that email and read it. Oh man, now that I have kids, I get so many extra emails about activities and events and you know, just all the spam in general. And it's just so so hard to keep up sometimes. All right, so here's this tree going here. Used to tease my wife that she'd have thousands of emails in her inbox that she hadn't looked at. I don't have thousands, but I've got a lot. And you know, you try to start unsubscribing to things that you don't really want to look at or you know you're not going to pay attention to. Oh, but even that's just such a pain in the butt. Just get so many of them. All right, so there was one little spot to add a tri-leaf piece there. And before I start this next tree, I'm going to look at Al's email. Not going to tell you guys what it says. This is apparently a hilarious and wonderful. He says maybe not the greatest, but a good idea. I am assuming this top one here is probably from you. Oh. Oh. Okay. I mean, some of those are pretty silly, Al. That's not a bad idea. I do like that. All right. We'll see if we can create a few of those based on your idea. There are a few of them that made me chuckle just thinking about them. So we'll see. I just dropped an axle on the floor, but that's okay. Uh-oh, I said the word axle. You know what that means. We've got to play the Okie Dokie song, as I like to call it, while I am working on this last tree here. And I don't know. Oh, it's we gotta rename a few of these so we know exactly what they mean. But I found this one. Here it is. This is one of my favorites now. It's called Axolotl Blindness. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, gather round for a mystery Vince can't wrap his mind around. Vince sees an axolotl, says that's a salamander, right? Cute little salamander, confident in his 6'7" might. Feathered gills, goofy grin, living fully aquatic. Vince says, same thing, bro, and that's where it gets problematic. He's got axolotl blindness. Oh no, here we go. Can't tell a salamander from a pink little brony. On regeneration facts just slide right by. He says, looks the same to me. Bro, nice try. He's got axolotl blindness. Oh no, here we go. Sees an axolotl, says it's a salamander, yo. Show him a salamander crawling out on land. Show him an axolotl in an ocean wonderland. One is dry, one is moist, but you're giving him the choice. Vince knows with blind belief they're clearly the same as far as he can see. We tried diagrams, charts, even zoology links, and he nods like he gets it, but we know what he's thinking.
How much is that axolotl in the window?
I do hope he's for sale.
Is that what's on the skateboard as well? Another axolotl?
No, that's a salamander.
I love that VMAX Attack has like axolotl blindness.
What's the difference between this and that salamander with Outlaw?
He's got axolotl blindness. Oh no, here we go. Can't
tell a salamander from a pink little bro. He holds a knee regeneration. Facts just slide right by. He says, looks the same to me. Bro, nice try. He's got axolotl blindness. Oh no, here we go. Sees an axolotl, says it's a salamander, yo.
All right, there we go. Axolotl blindness. One of my favorites right now, and part of that being, of course, and I hope they'd never be offended to hear this, but the Okie Dokie Brothers. My kids were big fans when they were younger of the Okies, and they do sing kind of children's folk bluegrass type songs like that. Sounds just like them. At the one hand, you think, oh, they'd probably be offended that we're using an AI tool to generate a silly song like that. But at the same time, every time I hear the song, I mention the Okie Dokie Brothers, right? Because to me, that is just so Okie Dokie. And they are Grammy-winning artist, Grammy-winning duo. So not that they need me to, promote them to continue to sell albums and be a super popular band. But every time I hear that song, I just instantly want to celebrate the Okie Dokie Brothers and mention them there. So I've got a little problem here. I've got some leftover bits down here. This and this I would expect. These I wouldn't. So apparently one of my tree limbs is missing. I've also got an extra 2x2 round. So now we've got to hunt down where I messed up. This is, part and parcel to any of these streams is what did Ben miss? And actually I almost immediately think I know where I missed one thing. But let's take a look here. So okay, tree branch. Aha, this is where I missed the tree branch. Okay, so this isn't so bad. The first one's easy enough to fix and spot. The three pieces that I missed are right here. They all go together. That doesn't even work. Oh, it sort of works. All right, whatever. So this goes here on the very tippy top part of the tree over here. So it makes this tree look a little tiny bit fuller, I guess. And then I immediately thought to myself, hey, I bet the part that I missed was up here. This little tiny tree branch on the side of the tower. Probably needs a 2x2 green piece there, like on all the other ones. So that's probably where that last little bit goes. But let's double check. All right. So we got that on there. Let's take a look. See if that is indeed where I missed it. It is. What do you know? You were supposed to put a piece on there and I missed it. Okay, so that's all the pieces now. So now we have our Wolfpack Outlaw Forest Den in all of its glory. We'll get a look at it here. Not sure I love these trees. They're kind of blocking things. I might have bulked them up a little or made a little different design choice. But they're okay. I don't really like this branch in particular that's sitting over top here. But as I mentioned, this one's on a hinge, so you can hinge it out a little away from the build. When I hinge it out, I think that really helps with the look. Kind of have trouble though when I hinge it out, getting the lantern to sit right. There we go. So there it is, Outlaw Forest Den. 2,600 and some odd pieces. 2,618 pieces. Big attraction, of course, being the 8 Wolfpack guys, Wolfpack flag stickers. Get a couple of these little wolves, a little homage here that I've really liked. to one of the original Wolfpack sets with the blue horse cart. And all that, yeah, definitely has a bit of Wolfpack Tower flair, but also some cool design elements in terms of the shape being a little different. Again, as I mentioned like 100 times, this ability to build an angled wall like this is something that's very popular on Bricklink Designer and a few Lego sets. I think that it's does a really good job of adding an element of differentiation and realism to builds that I've got to get myself to be able to do over time here. The portcullis does open and close, so that's exciting. It does have a little lever there on the side, so there's the portcullis down at the bottom. It does have one sort of slide open bit in the back here, so you can kind of display it with the side open or close it off. Interior, it's got details. It's not overly detailed or under detailed, but pretty good. We've got kind of a little rogue armory down there, as well as don't really have a fireplace. They have a fire kind of in this little hole in the side of the wall here to keep warm. So, probably gets really smoky in the tower here. You probably want some venting, but whatever. Got a little spot where they can sit, eat cheese, play cards, apparently, and house some of their gold. Here is an ability on the inside to pretend like you're using the portcullis. Of course, for any normal person, you're going to want to use the dial on the side. You have a little access into the tower here. So you can see inside. It's mostly just a ladder to get to the top of the tower, but well designed, easy enough to get on and off. And then the front door there. Like I said, I also like the palisade design here, since that's, what they're doing as opposed to building walls everywhere. So they just have those palisades to keep people out. The big idea I have now, they also do have, as a lot of the old classic sets have, they do have a hidden rock wall that you can flip open to get into stuff. As I mentioned, the one thing that I think I want to do with this, and we'll maybe do another live stream with it, is add lighting to it. And why do I like or think that that's cool? Well, first of all, because it is. But second of all, here we can pull down. This is a little blacksmith I made, one of my hexagons. So this little blacksmith shop here has only a few little spots where you can or would want to add lighting. But I've got the double furnaces over there, as well as a couple of lanterns. But as you can see, even on a small build like this, if you add lighting, which I did to it, really kind of gives you a extra little bit of fun when you've got, the flickering lights down there for the furnace, as well as the lanterns glowing in there. So it's really kind of a fun little bit that adds a little something extra. And I think the Wolfpack Tower is really dying for that, because one of the main, parts about this, or the Outlaw Forest Den, is we've got the inside of this cave and it's completely dark in there. So having a little illumination inside there and some flickering torches on the outside might really do a lot for this. So we might be able to do that. Take a look at kind of the parts that I tend to like to use for this to create, a build, something like this. This one too has illumination up top here. Not that you can see it all that well, but it shines down so that in the dark, you'd be able to see these guys working, not just the glow of the furnaces, but some lighting up top as well. So that is something I think I'm going to do. I'm going to go get some specific parts to try to light the Wolfpack Den, and we'll do that at another time. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. And maybe get you some ideas on how easy it is to get into it. It's not necessarily super cheap. They definitely do, like on Amazon and other places, they sell individual light kits for specific models. I don't think anyone's going to produce one specifically for the Outlaw Forest Den. So we'll kind of roll our own and do a little design. But that's the kind of thing that I think will be fun to do. So we will look into that for another live stream. But until then, here it is, Outlaw Forest Den, Bricklink Designer. You might be able to find one of these at Bricks and Minifigs or whatever, but of course, all of the sales for Bricklink Designer are through, so you'll have to get it kind of on the secondary market if you want to pick one up. As I mentioned while we were doing the build process, a few sort of weird instruction bits, but nothing that wasn't easy to figure out if you're a seasoned Lego builder. Big highlights: 8 figures, 8 Wolvies, 10 figures total, 8 Wolvies, and then 2 Lion Knights. I took the opportunity to only put stickers on the front side of the flags, so I have myself a couple extra Wolfpack flags that I'll now be able to use in my own builds. So that'll be fun for me. All right, what song should we play as our outro today? I have to go make my daughter and son some lunch so that we can get over to our birthday parties and everything else. Let's see. The song that we've got set as the outro is Peelybone. That's fine. But actually, I think I want something more castle themed. So we are instead going to set this one. This, I believe, is the first Think Outside the Blocks song we ever had. And it was a real tragedy. So this thing here is called, I think it's Larry's Grand Fall. So here's a bit of Lego history. First ever Think Outside the Block song. And we'll just say, we're sorry, Larry. Here we go.
Larry's castle stood so tall, we all sat in awe. Think Outside the Blocks gave a round of applause. Proud and inspired, Larry showed the grand hall. Physics took over, we all watched the grand fall. Bricks fail, crashing dreams to the ground. In that moment, silence was the only, except for Mark screaming, no, 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 no. Troy was grabbing a beer, hey, what happened, bro?
Yes, I pulled a moto.
No, you didn't.
I did. Under the castle, so dragons live here, right?
Oh my god, yes.
Level 1 dungeons. We got kitchens. This is a double high. This is the grand hall.
No, 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 no.
Like the grand hall.
I believe everything happens for a reason, and maybe this reason is for you to rebuild it better, bigger and better.
Shut up, Troy. My castle just fell. There's only 6 weeks to go. I'm in a full hell.